Hey everyone, and welcome to Comics from the Multiverse, the DC Comics podcast from MailFuzz TV. I am Peter, and joining me as always is Matt.
Hey, what's up?
And here to ruin Christmas, Connor's here.
I haven't said a single Christmassy thing.
Hence, you're ruining Christmas. My
Can't
logic
ruin
tracks.
Christmas if you don't mention it.
That was a lose-lose.
Connor's always a lose-lose. The story of Aqua-Andy, it was a lose-lose.
Connor is a human embodiment of the Kobayashi Maru.
Oh, jeez. So we talk about comics, talk about DC Comics. It's a quiet week for books, so we have some questions. We do have some solicits and news to talk about. The books we're talking about this week are Aquaman 43, which is the start of Kelly Sue DeConnick's run. We have Batman 61, Justice League. That is not number 12, it's actually 14. That's just not been corrected on my document. Catwoman number 6, Freedom Fighters issue 1, start of the Maxi series. And then we also have some punishment issues. Me and Connor have got some Patreon punishments. So those are all getting done this week because it's quiet. And it felt weird to do it next week when it's the awards and the annual stuff.
Because it's the last week of the year, essentially.
So that's what's caught up. So we got Red Hood, Hawk and Dove, and Curse of Brimstone. You can find out more of those later. But so important thing though, Comixology's selling a bunch of comics for really cheap right now, including like hundreds and thousands of DC books, so go have a look.
Yeah, go buy them.
If you like digital books. There's tons of them.
Yeah.
Sure, Marvel and Image and IDW have sales on too, but DC.
Yeah, DC is just trades though, right? Which is, I think, worth noting.
That's true. It's notable that DC and Marvel, because Marvel do have a small single sale, but it is fairly limited.
I believe it's just stuff from this year for their singles.
Yeah, but it's only up until like 5 months ago. Like there's like half the year's missing. Yeah. It's only stuff up till like July or August.
Whereas their trades go up to everything that's been released before this week.
But the point I'm making is that DC and Marvel seem really stingy with their single issues in this end of year sale, whereas Image, IDW, I think Valiant. We'll see what Dark Horse does. They've not started theirs yet. But they all have giant single issue sections that are just all their singles up until like 2 months ago are on sale. So, yeah, if that's tempting, and it probably is because you listen to a comics podcast, then go and have a perusal.
I've already spent a fair amount, and I will spend more.
I'm waiting for the Dark Horse sale before I finally lock in my tactically thought out sales
I've done
plan.
my minimum from... I've done some IDW, done some Marvel, done a few DC bits. Like, okay, that's the bare minimum. And I'll see what Dark Horse offer me. And then it's like, okay, the rest can just go on DC.
Yep, that's the plan. Merry Christmas, you filthy animals. So, next week is kind of, obviously, at the end of the show, I normally tell you what's coming next week, but I'm going to kind of do it here because I feel it's worth mentioning here.
There's nothing's coming next week.
Because there's nothing coming next week. DC are taking the week off, but it's nice because it means we don't have to schedule in the annual episode separately. We can just do it as next week's episode, which is nice. But the reason why I'm bringing this up at the start of the show is because our patrons at the $1 tier and up can vote for their favourite books of the year. The form is already up on patreon.com/MailFuzzTV, and we will be giving the results of the community polls along with ours as we go. So you've got until Friday the 28th to submit your options. You can skip. There's like a Marvel one and like another one at the bottom. You can skip those. You can skip any and all if you want, and just do DC ones. But make sure you have a look if you're a patron or you want to be a patron, and you can sign up and send those in before next week's episode.
Yeah, and I mean, if you go and if you're not a patron already and you're like thinking of coming on so you can vote, the monthly episode will have just gone up or just going up very soon, depending on what Pete did today.
Yes, well, TV Multiverse had to go up, so I did that first, but it'll be either tonight or tomorrow that the monthly episode for patrons goes up, which is Batman Noel and the Nuclear Winter Holiday Special, which has one really good story in it.
That's about it.
But I'm saying this because Matt would love that one really good story.
He would.
It's good.
It's not a $10 story.
It's not actually worth paying the $10 for. But if you happen to be in the comic shop soon and there's a copy on the shelf, Matt, and you can slyly read about 8 pages.
Click through to about the middle of the book.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll keep that in mind next time I go to the shop.
Yeah, it's the one written by Tom Taylor. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, well, there you go.
Rest of them, you know, mediocre to bad is pretty much.
So what's his story?
He did the Supergirl story.
Supergirl, okay.
That is very, very good.
Gotcha.
But hey, so that is the plan for next week. But yeah, we get this week. We have Solicits, which didn't come out till Thursday, which admittedly doesn't affect our show that much because we record on a Saturday anyway, so it doesn't matter that it came out later in the week.
It actually just means we're not as late on them as usual.
Yeah, but it's annoying in principle because I'm so used to getting my solicits on a Monday night that
solicits are the one thing that make a Monday better.
yes, monthly Christmas.
Exactly. Everyone knows Monday's the worst day of the week, but solicits make that once a month. It's not the worst day of the week.
I've always hated Tuesday more.
Why?
I think it's because in high school I had a really bad timetable on a Tuesday. It was all my worst teachers and worst classes on the same day, so I just grew to really hate Tuesday, and I've just had that stigma ever since. Tuesdays suck.
What'd you go to Hogwarts? You had Snape on Tuesday? Is that what happened?
I would have loved to get Alan Rickman for class.
You would. He'd be his favorite student.
Admittedly, I'd rather have Hans Gruber as my teacher than Snape.
Well,
but, you know,
we do call you a terrorist sometimes, but you're really more of a thief. So,
yes, he's not a terrorist. He's an exceptional thief. There's a difference. Thank you very much.
Oh man,
you can teach
I
me
had the same classes here. We have the same classes every day. So, you know, if you didn't like your teachers on Monday, they weren't going to get any better by Wednesday.
Well, I mean, obviously, like, I hated my math teacher that year that I'm thinking of. I mean, I had math most days, obviously, but it was just the concoction of that. I think I had German back to back with math, and it was just like, this is the worst.
That sounds shite.
Yeah, it was the worst day, and it was right after lunch as well. So it was always tempting to just run away during lunch. You know, go out for food during lunch and just not come back because what was coming back to was depressing.
You guys could leave.
Oh yeah, I could go for lunch.
Our place was locked down.
Mine was locked down.
Yeah.
Until you were like until you were old enough. You had to be like 17 or 18. Once you're at that age, you could leave.
Oh yeah, once you're 18, you're an adult and you can. I remember once I turned 18, I would go to my dad for a sick note, and he was like, "Nah, you write your own. You're an adult now." So.
Yeah, from the age of like 12, we could leave and go and get food whatever we wanted.
I think you just went to a really shit school that just didn't care.
Yeah.
Just like, who cares if they get stabbed? It's not a problem.
I'm not even going to dignify that with an answer. But you know, freedom. So we'll talk about books. No, not books. We'll talk about solicits. That's what we started with here. We started with solicits.
Well, kind of like books, but you know.
Yeah, it's books in the making. Books are coming later. So we will start with some kind of unfortunate news, although it probably won't be unfortunate for that long, but still, all the same, I think it's notable that a book that's hitting issue 50 is ending. One of the ongoing books is coming to a close in March, and that is Green Arrow, which is kind of sad because it's like, they took the Bensons off the book, and it was like, well, what are they doing with it now instead? And, you know, it felt like Lansing and Jackson were just, like, fill-ins before, and it feels like they're fill-ins again. And now it turns out they're just writing, like, the last 2 issues before it, you know, disappears. Probably not for long. Admittedly, it's probably going to get relaunched, because that's what happens. But it is worth mentioning that the solicits itself did not actually say final issue, but the Diamond printed previews does. And one of the writers confirmed it on Twitter. But they did say that there's plans for Ollie and Dinah soon, and wild plans that he's looking forward to as a fan. So clearly it's getting relaunched. My hope is it gets relaunched as Green Arrow and Black Canary and their co-leads. That is my hope.
It seems though that's the pattern they do with Green Arrow. Is a Green Arrow book kind of fizzles, and then they relaunch it as Green Arrow and Black Canary. And then that fizzles, and then they'll get 2 separate titles. So it seems like a pattern.
Yeah, I mean, you know, things have to break eventually, but
on cancellations as well, it's worth noting that Terrific's issue 14 is the one that's solicited here, which we know is Lemire's last issue.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And if you read the text, it sounds like a final issue, but it doesn't actually have the final issue tag. But obviously,
Interesting.
neither did Green Arrow in solicits, so I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah, I
on
wonder if the Diamond previews. I don't know if we have all the if people have access to all of that yet, or if it was just like that one page that people, you know, or a couple of pages that leaked early. Maybe we'll find out more soon. But if it does end, then that leaves us with just Damage and Silencer. Silencer's very good,
And
so I'm
apparently
okay with
Silencer's
that.
going through some big changes for March.
Yeah, apparently the February issue shakes things up, and
Yeah.
March is like a fresh start.
Yeah.
Not to be confused with Marvel's Fresh Start. Man, that feels so long ago now.
Yeah. Which really wasn't fresh and really wasn't a start, so it's kind of like New Mexico.
Because I think we were already doing this show when they were having their fresh start. And then they had
Yeah,
Legacy, and then they had whatever came next.
Is Fresh Start not the latest one?
No,
No. I think Fresh Start was before Legacy, was it not?
I think so.
Is that not the one they're on now? Technically, the
No.
last week.
No. Fresh
You
Start,
sure?
Fresh Start was older than that.
I'm gonna look this
I
up.
thought Fresh Start was the most recent. I thought that was the new since the new editor in chief come in. I thought his
CB.
new one.
Was
Yeah.
it? I don't
I
think.
thought his new one is Fresh Start.
Well, they've used
that
Marvel
had,
now
you know,
3
more-
times, so I suppose it's not that
I
shocking
mean,
if
it
they
could
have
be
used
it
it
could be a
twice.
different Fresh Start. Yeah.
Yeah. Because they had all new.
Fresh
Yeah, no,
all-
Fresh Start was 2018.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, because Legacy was the year before.
Do you know,
and
this shows
before
how
Legacy was.
this shows how quickly they burn through their stupid branding
Uh,
labels that feels so long ago, and it was apparently this year. Like
Yeah, that was like May. I want to say it started
Like-
that stuff.
I feel like
Yeah.
I feel like they threw around that phrase for like a month or two and then stopped using it, and that's why I can't. It feels like it was ancient. It feels like no, that was like a different time.
Yeah, all the
So-
books that are like in their first 6 to 10 issues at the minute, depending on whether they're double shipping or not, they're all Fresh Start titles.
Okay.
Yeah, so it says the relaunch will see the return of Tony Stark, Steve Rogers, Logan, Odinson, and Bruce Banner to their classic identities as Iron Man, Cap, Wolverine, Thor, and Hulk, respectively. And if you think about it, we had Wolverine return, Cap's back. I guess Iron Man's back. I don't know. I
Yeah,
haven't
he's
been-
doing
Yes,
his
yeah.
Tony Stark Iron Man by Slot.
Yeah.
Don't bother.
Okay. So and then Thor got rebranded too, but that's like par for the course.
Yeah,
Hey,
just, they just
well,
went back
so
to Thor again.
I didn't realize.
Jason Aaron's stores went through like 6 rebrandings, and nothing's really changed. Like it's
It's
just
all the
his
same
run.
It's-
'cause
yeah.
you've
It's the
had
same
what?
run.
You had
Yeah.
Thor God of Thunder, Thor,
And then
Mighty
Thor.
Thor, and now Thor
They-
again.
Thor.
The only time it changed was when it changed, obviously, to Lady Thor, but that was always just a
Right.
planned thing in the run. It just happened to
Right.
coincide with whatever
Well,
was
and then
happening
you
that
have the
year.
side jaunts on those two, which what do
Yeah.
you count those as? Because you have the War of Realms, or not the 10 Realms. War of
Yeah,
Realms is currently
the original Sin thing. Yeah.
the original
uh,
Sin, and then the Unworthy Thor.
Yes.
Aaron he's always said that he's wanted like 5 omnibuses full of stuff.
He's well on his
And-
way.
Yeah, he's got at least 1.5 right now, just with all of those. So
He's probably got at least 2 full now.
Yeah, I'd say God of Thunder plus Thor and
So that
the
was-
an original Sin.
that's
is
35.
Yeah, that's
probably one on.
that's an omnibus on
Because
its own.
Thor, yeah, because Thor was 8 issues. God of Thunder minus the annuals and whatnot was 25.
And
So
then,
right there,
and you've got Mighty Thor, which is like 20 plus issues plus
25
Thor's.
I think.
and now Thor. Well, Thor's was in there.
Yeah, and Unworthy Thor's in that
Secret
that,
Wars.
that section as
Yeah.
well. So I would
that's
say the
sec-
second omnibus ends before this current Thor. I'd say this current
Yeah,
Thor's the start
that
of
makes
Volume
sense.
3.
Yeah,
And he is at the middle point because it feels like the middle point.
because we're just about to go into War of the Realms. That's been brewing for a long time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
since God of Thunder.
So
Yeah.
I think this current volume is the first chunk of Volume 3 of the omnibus that will eventually happen. That's my guess.
Yeah, I know
Well-
they've started collecting it recently in Thor by Jason Aaron trades, which are much neater because that'll just go through it all. It doesn't really matter.
Yep.
As of
that's
right
what
now,
I'm
that
waiting
will be the best way to collect it until the inevitable omnibuses.
on.
Yeah. But aye. So how did we tangent?
But yeah, but that,
Uh,
yeah, that's because of Marvel and the rebranding. Like I
Yeah.
feel that this could also be Thor: God of Thunder because nothing really changed. You know what I mean? Like yeah, we had Jane come in as Thor, but she was still the God of Thunder. So, but it
Yeah,
changed because of the
I mean,
rebrand.
How many things did that? Because Thor: God of Thunder was during the original Marvel Now.
Yep.
So you had Marvel Now.
I think it started before it though. Was that one of the ones that they sort of rebranded it like halfway through as Marvel Now?
Yeah, because it was like, because Marvel Now came in when it was like in its like 4th or 5th issue.
Yeah, because
so
they did that with
pretty early.
They did that with Fractions Hawkeye as well. The first like 4 just Hawkeye, and then the 5th one all of a sudden Marvel Now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but anyways, I just say what you will about DC, but it's been Rebirth for 2 years, right? And then there's New 52.
They've kind of dropped the Rebirth branding, but they've not replaced it with anything else. So it's still.
The closest I can think is all the Justice League titles are under the New Justice line.
Even that feels very small
but that's very focused,
and that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
but we've not had a big rebranding like that in a while, and
I think we might get one after Doomsday Clock finishes.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think we always expected that though.
But see, this is where DC kind of figured things out, where you can set eras by crises. Like that's what they all build up to, and there's a clear endpoint with the Marvel stuff. As far as I know, it's just a rebranding and a relaunch for new titles. I mean, I'm thankful for Immortal Hulk, but that could have existed under the last thing too. That could have been a legacy title.
Oh yeah, easily.
Was anything actually a legacy title? Because I know they did some new. They changed the numbers back, but did anything actually launch under legacy?
Nah, they just changed all the numbers back, and now they've got the dual numbering, which is fine. I do actually kind of like dual numbering. I wish like Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman all had dual numbering. I like keeping track of that myself. Which, by the way, I'm a total nerd, right? In case you hadn't noticed, and I have a comic database where I keep track, and I have for every issue of like Batman, Superman, so on. I have like the original numbering, and that was one of the things that I liked about those anniversary covers when they hit like 700, 800, is that it confirmed that I was on the right number. I was like, yes, nailed it. Marvel did something really annoying because I was looking into Ultimate Spider-Man. They have an Ultimate Spider-Man issue 200, and it was after, because the original one got to like 100 and something, then it relaunched to number 1. Then it went back to its original numbering for his death at like 160ish, and then you had Miles for like 20 something issues, and all of a sudden there's this issue 200 out of nowhere, and it's like, where did this 200 come from? What are they counting here? And it seems like they're counting annuals, they're counting like minis that tied into things, and it's messy as shit.
They just count whatever they can to make up the number, don't they?
Yeah. It upset me in an OCD kind of way. Not that I actually have OCD, but in a collector
when you're
mentality.
counting through on your numbering, and presumably what DC does if they've lined up with yours.
Yes.
Do they count annuals as an issue? Or no, they're extra. Okay.
So real quick, answering Connor's question, there was only 2 titles that came out of the legacy branding. One was X-Men Red, which just
ended.
Good, yes.
The other one was the Marvel 2-in-1. That got a number 1, but everything else was just a renumber.
Yeah.
So like Falcon, I think Falcon maybe, but
yeah. And to be fair, both of those books were well received.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People liked them, but it's not much of a relaunch initiative if you've got 2 books, is it?
No, because it's really not a relaunch. It was just a number shows like
here's 2 books.
Do you know the problem with the whole legacy, like going back to I appreciate the dual numbering, I like the dual numbering being there, but the problem with them when they did that and they put, everything's go back to its original numbering, is you knew it was only going to last like 6 months, and that's what happened. Everything was back to being number 1s and whatever again.
Yeah.
I think Daredevil's lasted a bit longer because it's not relaunching now until Soul's done, which I think his last issue just came out
very soon.
Yeah.
Soonish.
Because it's the Chip Zdarsky, yes, how do you say his last name? He's doing the new number 1 in a couple of months, but it's the whole thing. I might as well be catching up in Marvel. So I've been reading some West Coast Avengers. It's pretty fun. Huh? It's pretty fun.
Kelly Thompson's pretty good.
Kelly Thompson is pretty good. I'm actually tempted to buy her 3-volume Hawkeye series for Kate Bishop. Because it feels like this is West Coast Avengers is kind of a sequel to that because it's more Kate Bishop by Kelly Thompson. It's just like an evolution of it. So I might go back and buy those on the sale. But anyway, so Green Arrow's ending at issue 50, but I wouldn't be too sad. I feel like it's probably getting relaunched. Apparently, and I know this is becoming a bit of a trend where we keep begging Tom Taylor to write DC books, but he has hinted in the recent past that he would be interested in Green Arrow. So if they relaunch Green Arrow with Tom Taylor, Green Arrow and Black Canary with Tom Taylor. I'll buy it for $1. I'll buy it for $4 even. So
Buy it for $5 because it'll be a first issue.
Sure, but don't keep 5 because that's too much. But
well, obviously, but it's going to start there.
But yeah, I will take it gladly.
Watching, I got caught up on Elseworlds, so now I'm up to date with that section of TV, and seeing some of the stuff on Arrow. I kind of missed Arrow, but then I started talking to you guys. So I really enjoy Ollie.
Yeah, don't take anything in that Elseworlds is what Arrow actually is. But Elseworlds was fantastic.
The Oliver in Elseworlds is what Arrow should be, but it's not.
That to be fair though, it did have one really good episode this season. Just one, but it did have it.
Notably all around Oliver.
Yes.
Yeah, if there's a Green Arrow book, I'm gonna pick it up because I really like that character. And Elseworlds reminded me, like, oh yeah, there's a TV show because I routinely forget it. So
lucky you.
Yes, look forward to Scott Lobdell and David Finch's Green Arrow.
Don't. No.
Sorry, Scott Lobdell and Brett Booth. There you go. There's your team. There's your dream team.
If this exists now, I'm holding you personally responsible for giving someone
I literally just stifled a throw up when you put those two names together because I got some flashbacks of New 52 Teen Titans.
Oh dear. Oh dear. Oh, was that a team? Was that a team?
Yeah.
Oh jeez.
Yeah.
Oh dear. I'm glad I didn't read that. All right, on to some big things. So last year, this year still, Action Comics 1000, we did a special episode just for that. I think the same will be happening come March for Detective 1000. And we got to solicit for Detective 1000. We have a list of teams. Obviously, we're going to have the main current team of Tomasi and Mankey on the main lead story. But here's a list of the other teams that are in it. We have Kevin Smith with Jim Lee. We have Brian Michael Bendis with Alex Maleev.
Well, that's a knockout team.
Warren Ellis with Becky Cloonan. We have Paul Dini with Dustin Wynn. And as Dini pointed out on Twitter, this is the team that did part of Streets of Gotham, which was a fun little side series.
It was a great book.
Well, and his detective run. Wynn did some of those issues too.
Did Wynn do some of that? Yeah. I've never read his whole detective run because 2 of the 4 trades went out of print like almost immediately. Yeah. So I've read Heart of Hush, and I read one of the other ones, but there's 2 that I've never read. They need to get to it.
Maybe something to buy in this Comixology sale.
Well, no, because they're not on Comixology. In fact,
they're not on there.
Heart of Hush is the only one of the 4 that's on Comixology as a trade.
Really?
Yeah. I've looked into it. I may get if there's a single sale for Detective 1000, I might just buy all the singles and say screw it. But and then we got Denny O'Neil and Steve Epting, and this is a sequel to Denny O'Neil's 1976 detective comic story There's No Hope in Crime Alley. And Epting, of course, is a fantastic artist, so that sounds good.
So how much do you think Epting geeked out that he gets to work with Denny O'Neil?
Probably quite a bit.
A lot.
Because you have to imagine that Epting grew up reading Denny O'Neil. You know, so the fact that he gets to work with him and on Batman, nonetheless.
And speaking of older and relatively newer writers, Christopher Priest is going to do a story with Neil Adams. So again, you've got this classic Neil Adams, Batman artist coming in. We got Jeff Jones.
I was going to say, we don't have to worry about Priest ruining Nightwing, because
it's already ruined.
Someone's already done that job for him.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's fine. And then we got Jeff Johns and Kelly Jones doing a story. And then we have Tom King doing a story with art by both Tony Daniel and Joelle Jones. So I assume it'll have some sort of narrative split, because it's not like the 8-page story or whatever it is going to need 2 artists for time.
No.
And then we have Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo doing a story. And then we have James Tynion IV and Alvaro Martinez, which is their Detective Comics main team from that run. So
that's cool. So there's a lot of more recent.
Legacy.
Okay, here are the teams. King with those artists.
Snyder and Capullo, Tynion and Martinez.
Yeah. So these are all the recent hits of Batman. Yeah.
So that is a great lineup. So that'll be a really fun special. This one's a little bit bigger in Action Comics. This is 96 pages for $10.
Who's working with Kevin Smith?
Jim Lee.
Kevin Smith. Jim Lee.
That was the first one I said.
Sense.
Yeah, it was so long ago that I obviously forgot. I was like, which one was that?
Yeah. Well, no, it makes sense. They're all indicative of an era, and that feels like a very mid-2000s. Like, you can't get Jeff Loeb, right? So you get Kevin Smith.
Yeah. Which, also on that, we got all the variant covers. Well, not all of them. We got the decade variant covers, because, Action had another bunch that came later, but we got the initial batch of, 9, 10 covers. There's a great Jock one there. The 80s one's Frank Miller. The 90s one's Tim Sale. Cho did I think it was the 50s or the 60s one, which is pretty nice.
Yeah, I really like the Steranko one.
Which one's that?
I don't know the decades. I've not got the
probably 70s.
I would probably, yeah. It's the very purple one.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, it all makes sense. So Detective Comics is coming March 27th, so it's coming at the end of the month. 27th is a great day for it.
The one issue in March.
Yeah, just one. Because 999 is at the end of February.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so yeah, 27th is a great day just by happenstance because of course Batman first appeared in Detective Comics 27. So nice touch.
Yeah, they had the same thing with Action, right? Where it was to the day.
Well, not to the day, but
not.
Well, it might have been, but this is to the number.
Yeah, we were speaking. Yeah, we were saying it's just funny because it matches up with Detective 27.
Oh right, okay, I'm with you.
Whereas Action didn't come out in the first of the month because he showed up in Action Comics 1.
No, I'm with you.
Right, but what Connor's saying is it did pop. Like the reason they moved it was so it would line up
the
with
Wednesdays happened to line up.
Yeah,
rather than just the month.
Action moved month though because it was on the month before. This was always on the right month for the anniversary.
Yeah. Right.
The day I don't imagine is the same. But it could be.
No.
I mean,
no, but I never feel like Detective never went weekly like Action did either, right? So there was always going to be some, fudging of the numbers.
It must have done at some point if they're just hitting like 1,000 a year later. Because Action would have gotten way ahead if it had been weekly and Detective hadn't been.
Yeah, it'd be like 50.
No. Yeah, maybe. Because I know them double shipping since Rebirth jumped up the numbers.
Yeah, but
maybe.
Yeah, they've both been double shipping up until the last 6 months.
Yeah.
Like let's say Action did a year where it went every week. That gives it 52 issues in a year. Whereas Detective would only have done 12. So it's an extra 40 issues that it would have been ahead.
Yeah. So. Yeah, I mean maybe Action's had that more often, but Detective must have still done it at some point, just so because it's not that far behind, relatively speaking.
Well, I'm just trying to figure out why it would be that far behind, because they both kind of. Yeah. Anyways,
it's only been a year though, so Detective 1000's coming in March, so that'll get its own special episode in between two of the regular episodes, which makes sense because that's a week 4, and week 4 that month is also pretty hefty with a Doomsday Clock and a Heroes in Crisis, so that'll be a fun week.
As it stands now.
As it stands now, yes.
Yeah.
Things could get pushed, but that's how it is now.
Things can always, things can change.
And then next up, just some stuff from the solicitors. There's a Justice League story starting in issue 19, where Snyder and Jorge Jimenez are actually going to be co-writing. It's called The Sixth Dimension. It looks like it's going to be a 3-part story. We're going to the Sixth Dimension. We're getting Mixie. We're getting all these crazy things happening. The 3 covers for 19, 20, and 21 make a big cover.
Triptych,
yeah.
So,
was one of those issues not the one that Snyder said would be the Jarro issue?
I think it was 21 he said.
Interesting.
21, 22, it was something in that range.
Okay.
Yeah, so maybe the last issue of that, but could be the next thing. And there's a one-shot coming in March, which seems to be taking the place of that month's Batman Who Laughs. So it seems like the Batman Who Laughs is taking a month off, and we're getting the Batman Who Laughs, the Grim Knight issue 1, which is Snyder and Tynion co-writing with Eduardo Rizzo on the art. So clearly it's
makes sense.
It's an oversized. Well, it's not that oversized. It's 28 pages, but it's the Grim Knight sort of backstory, presumably. So
yeah, it's cool. I imagine it's hey, Jock's not going to be done.
Yeah,
we give him a month off.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, okay, but we'd really like something in that month, so it's not losing momentum. Let's do this.
Who's doing the art?
Eduardo Rizzo.
Rizzo. Oh, okay.
So it's not going to look bad.
No, not at all. Also, start of a mini-series in March. This is part of the Wonder Comics line, part of the Young Justice stuff. This is Dial H for Hero, issue 1. It's start of a 6-issue mini-series. Sam Humphries writing with Joe Quinones on the art. Intriguing.
Yeah, I'd be lying if I said I'm not going to get it, because I'm going to get it.
Yeah, I'm down.
Yeah, I'll do it, try it, see how it is.
Connor, you going to know what's going on, having not read any of that, because it's the first one that's not Bendis?
Nope. I'm going to read that. No, I'll have read Wonder Twins. That's the month before, right?
Yeah. He'll read Wonder Twins and Dial H.
But not Young Justice.
Nope.
It hurts my soul. Joe, that might hurt more than not reading Superman.
I hope.
Yeah, because you like Tim Drake.
Yeah, I hope the Tim in this is like the best treated Tim ever, just because Connor's not reading it.
I'm pretty sure Bart's showing up in that as well,
Yeah,
right?
it's Bart, Tim, Connor, Cassie.
It's the Lost Generation.
And some new people. So you've got the new Team Green Lantern, we got Jenny
Teen
Hex. It's hilarious.
Amethyst.
Also worth
I
mentioning.
love Amethyst. I hate this.
Also worth mentioning, we got solicits for 2 of the Zoom and Ink books. I can't remember which ones or which brand, but the solicit, obviously trades get solicited 2 months for later, so these are for May. But Under the Moon, the Catwoman tale by Lauren McCrackle and Isaac Goodhart is coming out in May, as is DC Superhero Girls Spaced Out by Shia Fontana and Agnes Garbowska. Well, those are 2 really different names, Agnes Grabowska. But there you go. So anyway, those are the things. And then the last thing we just kind of have to touch upon. It'd be weird if we didn't. But there was a leak before the solicits that said there was a co-writer on Nightwing for March, and it was one Eric M. Esquivel, if I'm saying his name right.
Yeah, Esquivel.
Esquivel. There you go. So he was co-writing. Why is that notable? And why was it pulled before the solicits went out? Well,
let me guess. Is there a controversy?
There is a controversy.
Okay.
Because he was writing a book called Border Town for Vertigo.
Which the first 2 issues of I read were annoyingly really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, and because he was set up
to
to co-write this issue of Nightwing, people were speculating that maybe they were going to transition him on as the writer of Nightwing. But here's the thing. So an ex-girlfriend of his, who did not actually name him, people worked out who she was talking about. Basically detailed in depth all the abuse that she received from it. Some of it's pretty sickening to read, by the way. If you do go and read it, it's pretty dire. Since then as well, other people who have been victims of his have posted screenshots of online conversations that he had with them. At least one of which was an underage person. Jesus. Pretty dire.
There's always a digital trail.
Yeah.
There
is these days, yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. So it's like, don't be shitty. Like, be a decent human being, and it's not hard.
And definitely don't be shitty where it's really easy to prove it.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
It's like, why?
That's not the lesson here, Connor.
No. I'm just saying, it's like,
that's not the lesson.
How stupid do you have to be when it's like, print screen, click, oh look, proof.
Anyway, so the funny thing is obviously DC cancelled Border Town, but before that even happened, both the artist and the colorist of the book quit the book, like publicly said, no, we're not doing this anymore, we're not working with this guy.
Yeah, because once they found it out, they did the right thing, and we don't feel comfortable doing this.
So naturally, DC pulled the book, and then obviously he was going to co-write this, he was going to script it, and then they pulled that as well and said, because the printed Diamond book, the previews book, still has his name in it. That's why we know about this. But obviously, because it was already printed, it was too last minute. But they've put out a note to retailers saying, no, look, by the way, he's off that book. He's not co-writing it. Which makes me wonder that if that was their plan, was to shift him onto Nightwing, and that's what they were transitioning to, that it means that right now there is no plan for Nightwing. Yeah, it means that
Lobdell gets to spin his wheels for another arc.
Pretty much.
Well, no.
Honestly, I would rather they just not have Nightwing until it's proper Nightwing. Just cancel it. Just cancel it right now and bring it back when it's time.
Well, because we feel his presence or lack thereof in like Titans and in Batgirl, and like so if you wanna do this Rick Grayson thing, have him pop up in those,
Because I've been saying since the start, like this was a story beat that King wanted to do for the effect on Batman. His return will be a big moment in Batman. And you don't necessarily need the Nightwing book to be doing anything during this time.
No.
Ideally, we'd have a good writer who would just be ignoring this, and all the stuff with amnesia and him not being him would be in between arcs. That would be the ideal thing. Yeah. If we're not going to get that, then just don't have Nightwing at all, and just bring it back when it's proper Nightwing. Maybe with Tom Taylor writing it, for example. But
I sense next week when we look ahead to next year.
There is
going to be a lot of... Maybe we could get Tom Taylor on this.
Yes. that is the thing. Well, hey, X-Men Red just finished. He's freed up a slot.
Yeah.
He's freed up a slot.
Did you guys see that? Was it last week or it was this week where he tweeted out Marvel solicited online the X-Men Red trade, but it didn't have his name. It just said in parentheticals art or writer. And he's like, I can't even catch a break. And I found that
someone
because
forgot to fill it in.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
That's kind of funny.
I only came across that because Tom King retweeted it and found it very humorous. So seems like they're all good buddies.
Yep.
Yeah.
So he does have a new Spider-Man book, but it's a single, shipping book. So he's got room for a DC book or two.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
That's
going to be a new meme, and the new meme is, can Tom Taylor write this? That's going to be the new meme.
I'm okay with that. On the solicits, the other thing that I wanted to mention that I noticed was...
Oh, go on.
Justice League Odyssey #7 is still by Dan Abnett.
That's right. It seems like Abnett's on that book now.
Yeah. I mean...
That's okay. I like Abnett enough.
DJ Domenico on art.
Yeah.
Which is nice.
It's funny, yeah. It's like disappointing because I like the idea of Williamson doing it, but the truth is, I'm reading like 3 Abnett books and I'm liking them all to various reasonably good degrees. So
which ones am I reading? I'm reading Silencer.
You're reading Silencer, and well, I mean it was Aquaman. But Aquaman's done now, but like he's done it.
Yeah.
Now, but
Yeah, I was enjoying
Titans.
Aquaman well enough, and Titans I thought was a mess.
He gets the team dynamic because even look at Aquaman, it was kind of a team book, So,
but he got good. It was, yeah. It was kind of a team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
So I mean, I can't really fault it that much. Like I actually have been enjoying stuff. I hope it doesn't feel like he's been thrown on at last minute because Williamson had to be taken off of it for other projects, and
it
therefore
does
it'll
feel like that, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Because all the solicits, it's still just stuff in the ghost sector.
So I hope it doesn't feel like he's just kind of filling in because Williamson can't do it, and therefore it won't be like good Abnett because he's just kind of.
We've seen what it's like when Abnett just writes it in. Just like that'll do.
Yeah.
That said though, I mean, I think the specific thing I've complained about is when it feels like there's no direction for his book. At least if Williamson's left like a roadmap of what the story's supposed to be, it should have drive. It should have.
Hopefully, yeah.
So there's the hope. Oh, that'll wrap up solicits then. But obviously, of course, if we've missed anything else you think is worth mentioning, do mention it in the comments and point it out. But I think that was all the big stuff. So we'll go ask some questions because it's later week, so we asked Twitter for some questions. We got a few. I'll pick a couple to ask. I'll get this troll one out of the way. From @KDog338800. Excluding yes.
Is that even a real Twitter handle? What's up with all the numbers, guy?
It looks like a real person. Excluding Rick Grayson, is Damian the best Robin?
No.
No. Tim is the best Robin.
Easy.
Dick, Damian, Tim.
Dick's the best character, but Tim's the best Robin.
I don't really have this separation in my mind.
I think
because I prefer Dick Grayson as Nightwing. We got over this a million
times.
Sure. Dick comes into his own as Nightwing. As Robin, he's just kind of there. He's fine.
I just have not that much attachment to Tim as of yet. He's kind of the plain one to me, but I mean that could change with time.
You need to go back and read some Tim stuff.
Also, Rich Grayson was never Robin. Okay, he doesn't remember being Robin. So get your facts straight, buddy.
I like Damian more than Tim though, which I guess is the point of this question.
Yeah, and you're wrong.
No, I like Damian as Robin. I like Damian more than Tim. You feel free to fight me, but I mean Tim's way better than Jason. Don't get me wrong. Like
I forgot Jason. I was like 4 Robins, and then I totally forgot that he ever was.
Carrie Kelly. That's who you're thinking of, Matt. That's the 4th one.
Yeah, that's right. Also, spoiler. Steph.
Yeah,
Steph
brief stint as Robin. Yeah, Stephanie Brown. Yeah,
it counts.
Brief stint.
Yep.
Better than Jason for sure.
Yeah.
But a more serious question. From the same person is in our eyes, this is mainly for me and Matt because Connor's not been reading Bendis' Superman, but what is the main difference between Tomasi's Rebirth Superman run and Bendis' Superman run so far?
One of them was at least good for half of it.
That was such an obvious troll answer that we were going to get from Connor.
Well, look, I've got nothing else to say, so I might as well.
Mm-hmm.
Well, no, because you can't even say if Superman or Action are good because you're not reading them.
Hey, I read a page.
Yeah, okay. There you go.
A page.
And was that page good?
God, no.
Okay, well then shut it. So this is something that I've seen a lot on Reddit with people saying that Bendis has ruined Superman, which I just don't get. Like, you could not like Bendis, but he's been very fair to the characters. Like, yeah, he's shaken some things up, but I think that's always fine. You want to come in to a series and kind of make it your own.
Yeah.
So
I feel like
I
feel like to Superman specifically, he has been very faithful. Like it feels like Superman. In terms of differences between this and Tomasi's run so far, I feel like Tomasi and Gleason's run, like the heart was always in the right place, and some really good stories came out of it. But I feel like there was maybe a lacking of like an overall direction for the run as a whole. There was a lot of little random like one-off things, and then like weird road trips that kind of felt just pointless.
Yeah, well, you had Frankenstein showing up, and you had you know Manchester Black, and just things like there was an overall story, but they seemed to come out of nowhere. Whereas from the time Man of Steel started, you saw two very clear stories.
Yeah, I guess what I'm saying is it feels like, and this is not a criticism, I'm not saying everything has to be mapped out to the end, right? But it does feel like Tomasi and Gleason's run were a little bit more sort of loose in terms of, we'll think of another story as we go. Well, what's the next story going to be?
Tomasi and Gleason's, to me, it really felt like Cowboy Bebop, if you've seen that.
No.
In terms of its structure of just, hey, stuff just comes along.
How dare you? I'm practically offended that you implied that I would have.
Not you. I was referring more to the audience.
How dare you?
I know there's a corgi in there, and that's pretty cool. Yeah.
There is. It's
so
great.
So I feel like both progressed the character, because from New 52, I feel that's where Superman was kind of at his lowest. So, but whereas Tomasi kind of made him the family man and kind of changed who Superman was, Bendis hasn't really done that. I don't want to say he's regressed Superman, but Clark really is Superman first, family man second. Versus where I feel like Tomasi, he was family man first, and Superman second.
I feel like, at least to begin with, Bendis wants to do some classic Superman on his own stuff before we dive more into it. And obviously we're getting there. John just showed up, and Lois is back, but we're building towards Bendis clearly wants to do kind of some Superman dealing with things on his own. And I feel like with Bendis Superman, I feel like I'm a lot more inside Superman's head. Not that Gleason's run and Tomasi didn't have narration, because they did, but it feels more like...
But that's Bendis, though. Bendis, I don't want to say he's cerebral, because that sounds pretentious, but he really does get in the mind of these characters. From any of the books of his that I've read over at Marvel, mainly Daredevil, you were in Matt's head all the time. Same with Ultimate Spider-Man. I've read the first trade of that, and you get to know Peter Parker really well. And I feel he's doing the same with Superman, which I feel the average comic reader kind of needs that touchstone. Because a lot of them, I feel like they know Superman, but not like in depth. So, setting up this, like the whole Phantom Zone thing, I think is a perfect microcosm of who Superman is, because you get the ties to Krypton, you get the ties with Zod and Earth and all of this other stuff in one nice little bundle, and then whereas with Tomasi, like I love the farm stuff, I love Hamilton County, but it just felt like this is Superman living out on a farm, and he's going to deal with what comes next, like Pete was saying. Like, we'll come up with the next story next.
Yeah, I had a different focus, and obviously we loved the early part of that run. All that stuff was great. It lost its way as it went. But...
And to the people on Reddit, I go, well, why can't we just enjoy both? Like...
It's okay to like both, yes, that is true.
Yeah, like no one... I remember Jonathan London from Geekscape always saying this about reboots and stuff. Like, when it comes to movies, nobody is coming and taking all of your movies away. Like if you really like the old X-Men movie and you don't like they rebooted it with First Class, like no one's coming and taking your Bryan Singer movies.
I think the exceptions to that are where the reboot has come instead of the next sequel, where they're like, okay.
Yeah, there's a disappointment where you wanted the thing to continue, and instead you're getting something else.
And I get that, but to act like, oh, well, they're completely stealing everything, and unless you're George Lucas, where you actively go back and change things, I don't feel like it's a fair argument there. It's like, all right, we can like both, and if like you're Connor and you don't want to read Bendis, like, sorry, you're missing out on Superman, but this is just where it's at right now.
If you like Connor, I'm just sorry in general.
Me too.
And because I'm all for as many people reading Superman. Like, come on. It's my whole thing. My room at my old house was painted blue, so like, yeah,
Like the one thing we can see on the wall behind you now
As
is
a Superman
Superman.
photo. Yeah.
exactly. And then that's by accident because I had to move my camera around or my monitor around to plug my
It still
thing in.
worked for the point.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly. So, but yeah. So what was the original question? I kind of tangented there.
And we've already answered it. We've said what's different between
Yeah.
the runs so far.
Gotcha.
Right? So we've done. We can move on to the next question, which is from Aquaman Factor. What character hasn't appeared in Rebirth yet that you really want to see? And I think this is an interesting question now because there was a time when the answer from Matt was always going to be Connor, that kind of thing. But now we're at a point where okay, he's popped up. We're getting him properly in like next month's new book.
Properly.
Yes. So now I ask, okay, now that we've had Connor and he's on the way,
Yep.
who's the answer now? What character has not appeared since Rebirth?
So I could be wrong because I don't read every single book.
Yes.
But I would like a Flash TV show version of Ralph Dibny. I want Ralph, but before he met his wife.
Yeah, that's a good point. I don't think. When was the last time we saw Ralph, like in general?
It's been a while. The last time I remember seeing him, he was a ghost at the end of 52. Spoilers for 52.
Yeah,
but...
I don't think I remember him anything since 52, but people could correct me.
I don't remember him in anything in the new 52.
I do. He was in Secret Six.
Oh, was he?
In Simone's relaunch.
Okay.
Yeah, he pops up, and I don't want to spoil that for people.
I only read an issue of that because then it went on such a break that I think something happened with
one of my friends was like, yeah, you might want to check out Secret Six because there's a surprise character. But no one's done anything with him since.
Yeah.
So not only do I want to see Ralph Dibny, but I really love the Flash TV show version of him where he's kind of this blundering fool, but he is still a good detective, But him before Sue, I think, would be a lot of fun. Even Flash.
My problem with this, what you're saying here, is the Flash TV show version of, Elongated Man is basically just Plastic Man.
Yeah.
I feel like the difference between them is Plastic Man's way more of a cartoon character. You know what I mean? Like with all the stuff. Like think about what we see in Terrifics.
No, I get that. I feel like though his personality on that show is a lot more in line.
If you keep some of the humor but make it more of a PI book that he just happens to have stretchy powers, I feel like that could be something.
Yeah, and what I mean is like him on Flat is like him being the not the employee but the customer of the month at the strip club, and it's only his picture on the wall and stuff. The little stuff like that where you're like, this isn't the Plastic Man that was kind of defined by his marriage to Sue. This is
Elongated Man.
Elongated Man.
Yeah.
That was
Don't make this slip, Matt. Don't make this slip. You get the corrections on the comments.
Well, again, we talked about why Elongated Man was created on this show.
Oh yeah, we did. Yeah.
They didn't realize they had the rights to Plastic Man, so they created one, and then went, oh man, well now we have two of these.
If anything, I think I want a team-up book called I don't know, Stretchy Men or something, and have both of them.
I would hope it has a better name than that.
Quite a stretch.
Whatever you want to call them.
See, that's better. That's better already.
That's the title of it. You can name the book whatever you want, but that's the story title. It's quite a stretch.
Call it the Fantastic Two.
But yeah, because everyone else that I really like parts shown up and
Yeah, I don't. In terms of just showing up, I don't know if I have an answer because I think everyone who I really want to see has appeared. It'd be more okay. Who would I want to have a book that doesn't?
I mean, I think for me, like at this point, I'd probably be throwing out JSA characters, but we're kind of getting there with Doomsday Clock.
Yeah, yeah. And I was gonna do that too with Legion but it's the same thing. It's like, well, I've gotten Saturn Girl, so
yeah, we know there's plans coming for them in the near future, so it doesn't feel like I need to be going, oh, I really want them to show up because they're coming.
Most people have appeared, I think, for the most part. Like at this point,
and that's why I said the Flash show version of Dibny, because sure, Dibny might have shown up in some book that I'm not reading, but not that version. And like, I would love, like Pete always talks about the Batgirls book. Like, give me Cassandra and Stephanie as Batgirls though, not as Orphan Spoiler or Babs. Like that could be so fun. I'm
just trying to think if there's like past versions of characters supporting cast where I'm like, no, I could really do with that character being back. But nothing's immediately springing to mind. Yeah.
No.
Yeah. I think it's a tougher answer. I feel like at this point now, the answers we'd give would be like smaller characters who are kind of favourites from runs that don't really have much existence outside of said runs.
Snapper car.
You know, I'm thinking like you know, for example, we had Ben Rubel and Supergirl who showed up in Titans, right? I'm trying to have characters like that who were like supporting cast in past runs of characters who I'd want to show back up.
Has Renee Montoya been around? Have we seen her
in Rebirth?
Yeah, like
I feel like we might have.
Yeah, she was in something recently.
She was in Metropolis, wasn't she?
No, that was Maggie Sawyer.
Yeah, that might have.
I thought Montoya was there as well at one point.
Oh, she was in a book recently. Well, there was something with Jim Gordon. She was there. Was that an in-continuity story?
I don't know.
I don't remember.
I think it was a flashback.
Is it Batman?
Yeah, there was a scene where she comes out to Gordon and, you know, gives him information. That was in a book recently that I read. Whether or not it was a new release or an old issue is maybe up for debate. But
hasn't been around in a while. The Spectre.
Sure,
that's true.
Give Justice League Dark a few volumes. It'll get there.
Yeah. Well, I feel like Day of Judgment and what's going on in Justice League Dark are kind of similar, but they just swapped out Dr. Fate or Naboo for the Spectre because he's trying to destroy the world through magic and whatnot.
Yeah.
So,
see, in terms of getting a book, I would love a Dr. Fate ongoing, or at least a mini, just focusing on the solo character. Either version of Fate, the one that we've got like in the helmet now, Nelson, or the newer one that we got at the end of New 52. I really enjoyed that. I think it was about 3 trades. It was a good run. I like that character.
See, Shazam was another one I'd go to, but we just got a book, so
yeah, and that's the thing with that version of Dr. Fate. It's like, well, it's teasing that he's coming back in Justice League Dark. He's in the vase, right? So it's like, he's kind of appeared.
Yeah.
I think we're at a point now where a lot of the big answers have been said, but there's probably nice little niche characters that haven't. No.
Which coming out of the New 52, that's super cool because the entire.
Yeah, we were 5 years into that and still going, where's this person?
Yeah.
No, that's fair.
Yeah.
So next up, we'll get a question from @Eritrine, aka the guy who makes me read Hawk and Dove. You bastard.
You're my favorite.
Okay, so there's 2 questions here. One is interesting. One would be interesting, but we already know the answer we're going to give, so I'll do that one first. Since the book is an absolute shambles, what would be the dream Nightwing creative team for the 3 of you? Right, so Tom Taylor, obviously.
You can't say Tom Taylor.
No, I did not agree to this. Tom Taylor.
We'll do 2 versions, Tom. Put an artist with Tom Taylor, and then we'll do one without Tom Taylor.
Okay. Tom Taylor and Jock.
No, I don't want Jock on a Nightwing book.
Why?
Because Jock does a great cape, and Nightwing doesn't wear a cape.
I think Jock has such a great mood and tone. I don't think that's the tone and mood that I want on a Nightwing book.
Okay, I'll go for a moody Nightwing book. Okay, fine.
No, I want something a little bit lighter.
Okay, fine. We'll go with the annual team. Schmidt. Put Schmidt on it with him.
Schmidt would do a great Nightwing book.
Schmidt and Taylor.
I'll go for that.
All right, motion on Tom Taylor answer.
Is it cheating if I go back to Seeley? Because I really like Seeley.
That's cheating. No, it can't be someone we've had.
Here's what it's someone we mentioned earlier that me and Peter read. Kelly Thompson.
I could see
I think she'd do a fantastic Nightwing book.
Actually, Joe, I was thinking about it. I think she'd do a great Stephanie Brown book.
Give her both.
Oh, sure, give her both. But I'm thinking, give her a Stephanie Brown Batgirl book. Kelly Thompson would knock that out of the park.
Yeah, definitely.
She'd probably knock a Cassie book out as well, but Stephanie's the one that I can think of with her. Kelly Thompson's not a bad choice. Kelly Thompson and
all of my options they've already written Nightwing, but I want to see where they would have gone had they stayed. So No, Tom Taylor's it's a good one. I want to see what else you had.
Yeah, top tail. Also from that Airtrain, this one's a bit more fun. If you could Freaky Friday any two characters in the DCU for an arc, who would you pick and why?
I mean, the obvious answer is Clark and Bruce, right?
No, that story's been done so
Yeah,
many
that's
No, I
too
know, that's
easy.
why I said it's the obvious.
That's too
answer.
easy. I think you have to go more interesting. I think the more interesting thing is like Bruce and Crypto.
Two out there.
Put Bruce in a dog.
Pete's coming out.
Put Bruce in a dog, and have Bruce
Okay,
barking.
I'm for this, but if I just for sassy Alfred
Okay.
hitting Bruce with a newspaper for
Yes.
marking territory
See,
within the cave.
See, easy.
Like, yeah, see. You know, it'd be cool. It's all on the same line of Clark and Bruce, but Barbara and Kara.
That'd be more fun. I could see more fun coming from that.
Because you could see Baz like, oh, superpowers are cool, and Kara being so like flustered.
Actually, here's a good one. Here's a good one. Batman and Detective Chimp, because he's still a detective, right? So there's like,
Right.
so they can actually function as each other, but Batman has to put up with the fact that he's a chimp.
There goes Bruce's liver.
See, I thought that one. I think they're too similar for it to be interesting.
I don't think so, because Bruce isn't like, Bruce has psychotic problems, but he's not neurotic like Detective Chimp is, where he's drinking to forget things. You know, like
Yeah,
you know,
it might be when he gets into that brain.
he could be. Who can I search Hawkman with?
Wait, which version of Hawkman? Savage Hawkman or
It
like?
doesn't matter. Any of them.
Oh, here's one. You switch Guy Gardner with Jason Todd and see if anyone notices.
Yeah, you do notice, because Guy Gardner has a thing called charm that Jason Todd just does not have. So
Maybe when he had the bowl cut in the 90s.
no,
No.
the crew cut's good now. That'd be one. Guy and Kyle.
What?
That'd be
Guy
hilarious.
would ruin Kyle's life in about an hour.
Yes. Oh, he would, and
Oh,
and
dear.
he'd make a sport out of it.
He would.
What can I do next? He's leaving refrigerator boxes for him in the apartment.
I could see Guy and like Hawkman just him going around with the mace, being like, "This is fun."
Yeah.
Mm.
And then Hawkman and Guy's body just making maces, because that's the only construct he can work.
Yeah.
That's great. Yeah.
Streaky and Dexter.
Well.
Swap of cats.
So Dexter just becomes superpowered even more.
Yes.
And goes around tearing apart stuff. Like,
Just what everyone needed.
yeah.
I think for Detective Chimp, you go with Space Ape.
No, see, now you're pigeonholing them. Because they're apes
Yeah.
and apes. Like,
Yes, but they're so different characters, even though they're apes.
Oh, you do Beast Boy and Chimp, and Beast Boy has to deal with the fact that he has to
Yeah.
stay one animal the whole time.
right.
Yeah.
Chip just becomes himself. He just goes to the chip.
Yeah,
form.
Chimp just becomes a chimp again. He's
Like,
like,
Beast Boy's just upset the whole time. Like, you could be
just-
anything.
He just drinks so he forgets he's green.
Yeah. Who could you switch Wonder Woman with? Wonder Woman and Lois. That could be cool.
there's something there. There's something there.
Because they're both these strong women, but in different ways. And, like,
I think the story of Lois having powers for a day is something we've done quite a few times.
yeah.
But you can see the similar vibes coming from it with swapping her with someone.
But, like, just because she has an even louder voice now with Wonder Woman. You know, like, yeah, she has a loud voice as, like, the world's greatest reporter. But you put her as Wonder Woman, and, you know, she's a diplomat and all this other stuff. That could be cool, too.
I think you swap Batman and Blue Beetle. And here's my reason. Because then Bruce has to be a teenager and no one will listen to him. And that will be delightful.
I was about to ask which Blue Beetle, but
Yeah, the timey, yeah.
yeah.
Either way, nobody's going to listen to him.
Well, yeah. It's true.
Put him in a body where no one will treat him seriously. You know, he's the kid. No one will listen to him.
Yeah.
Maybe you put him in Damien's body. I'll have to do the father-son thing.
I'm not gonna lie. I think that's why that would be a reason to go back to Detective Chimp.
Probably.
No one takes Detective Chimp seriously.
Ah, sure. Yeah.
They probably should, but they don't.
I could see it. Oh dear. All right, one last question then. So, at Talking Superman, friend of the show, naturally, doesn't make me read anything bad, so that's why he's a friend, and unlike Tyler, who's the worst. So, if you could switch the day job of any DC hero, who would it be, or what would it be and why, or who and what would it be and why?
Okay, we're gonna remove any of the billionaires,
Right?
Because clearly, that's their day job. So Ollie's out, Bruce is out, Cord's out.
But what does it become?
Yeah, but they can do whatever they want because they got the money to just go. I'm gonna go do that.
Yeah.
It's not interesting.
Oh yeah, but is this question asking like how it works in continuity, or is it just no? You just swap it. You just magically swap it. They have to do this now.
Yeah.
I don't know. Take your pick.
Yeah.
So
read the question again.
So if you could switch the day job of any hero, so let's say you're like, okay, Clark's not a reporter now. Now he's a fry cook.
Right.
So you're changing what their everyday secret identity day job is.
Okay.
I wouldn't mind swapping Barry and Clark because they seem like they're the same thing, but like I'd like to see Clark as a play scientist with the Superman powers.
Okay, yeah.
And then Barry gets to be a reporter with Iris. And it's the same kind of dynamic because, he's always late, but he's late as a reporter instead of a scientist.
I feel like the obvious thing to say for a Flash is that they're a delivery driver and they can just speed about. Like, Judge usually 30 minutes, so it's free. Like, no, with a Flash it's 30 seconds or it's free.
Yeah.
Jean as a firefighter, as a way to try and conquer his fear.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's not bad, actually. Yeah, I could see it.
Yeah.
I could see it. Yeah. Hal's normally a test pilot, so let's make him a bus driver.
No. You don't want that. Those buses don't have seatbelts, bro.
Well, what would I make Hal?
You put Hal in a suit and make him like mind. You put him in an office job.
I feel like he's like a sports coach.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah,
like a high school sports team coach.
Okay, yeah. He's giving speeches about not fearing the opposition, about willpower. Yeah, okay. I could kind of see this happening. The team,
or he's a lawyer.
He hasn't got the patience.
Hal's not a lawyer.
Yeah.
Mad. Clark, I could see kind of being a lawyer. Actually, I could see subverting Clark and doing a lawyer thing with him, Mark Murdoch style.
Yeah.
Questioning the morals of helping people when he's Superman, but he's using that in the courtroom to win.
Him.
Yeah, I could see that being a thing. Feels like a very Superman thing to do. How about this? How about they're all sports team coaches and all our teams like uniforms are all like, so Hal's team's all green, right? And his Sinestro got a team that's all yellow. See, now I want this Elseworlds where it's just a sports movie where the Green Lanterns have to go up against the Sinestro Corps and they're just like, hockey teams or something. I don't know.
I'd watch that. Although I'd watch any hockey movie. So.
Don't really say much, is it?
Yeah.
No, because it's I've had arguments. Hockey movies are the best sports movies just because hockey lends itself so much to the camera more than other sports.
Which ones are good all in the Mighty Ducks trilogy?
Mystery Alaska is really good. The Goon movies are good.
I've heard of that first one, but
yeah. Trying to think what else off the top of my head. Slapshot's real good.
Never seen that.
None of the sequels. Stay away from the sequels.
Matt has seen more hockey movies than people probably should.
Yes, most lately.
Probably. And then you start getting to the documentaries, and then it's just...
Oh, God, yeah. Let's not go down that path. Let's not go down that path.
No.
Let's go down that path. Dick's a stripper, obviously.
Yes, easy. Stripper Graham Stripper.
Yes.
So he's got to go change costume changes. Sometimes he's a cop. Sometimes he's a delivery driver. You know.
I can see. No, in all seriousness, I think Dick, paramedic.
Okay.
I see what you do there. Pyramid Dick.
It wasn't intentional.
Yeah, but it happened.
It did. No, just in terms of really wanting to help people, like first responder, like that.
Yeah. Well, he
Like,
was a cop during the
yeah,
90s run.
Yeah.
So
right, he was, but I
it
feel like
fits.
I feel like I don't want to just give him a cop, a detective again. That's boring.
No, I know.
I don't see him as
That's
a
what I'm saying.
firefighter.
I feel like
I
Babs,
always-
if you're going to have Babs become a cop to follow in the father's footsteps, because there's dramatic potential there, I think Babs becomes like a scholar, like a historian or something like that, where I can see her in like a museum.
I see her as a professor.
Professor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
that's kind of what she's doing with what they were doing with the library degree when it started in Rebirth. You know? Like that was kind of her path, and I do like that.
Yeah.
You know, and then she ends up becoming like a criminal justice. Like she quits.
These are all really big things, though. I do like the idea of some heroes just having really simple, normal jobs, like a pizza delivery guy. Like, I actually really like the idea of like someone that is part of the appeal of Spider-Man, right? Is that sometimes he has shitty jobs.
I think a lot of the teenage heroes get that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because those are supposed to be teenage jobs, right? When you're a 35-year-old, you're supposed to have your career set, and that's not the real world all the time, you know. But in the idealized world of comics, that's what ends up happening.
Yeah. So, there you go. But that's questions. We'll move on then to books. But thank you very much for the questions. And we will do so. Reminder though, vote. Patrons, go vote. Or sign up to Patreon if you want. Give us $1 and vote in the Patrons End of Year Awards section. Thank you, and kindly. So we can move on to books then, and we will be starting with, I'd argue, is the main event of the week, which is the start of the new run on Aquaman by Kelly Sue DeConnick with art by Robson Rocha. This is issue 43, and obviously we've got an amnesia thing on with Dick, so it's easy, I think, to go into this knowing that it's an amnesia plot and be like, we're doing that. I think what's interesting here about this, though, is that this is kind of using it as a breather, because, you know, Aquaman is so often, the surface world are awful, we're going to go to war with them, or the politics of Atlantis. It's actually kind of nice, and I don't dislike that stuff, but it's kind of nice to actually get a break from that, and I think that this is maybe what this is doing.
Yeah, because even when, like, before John's kind of revitalized him, he was always tied to Atlantis.
Yeah.
And here, this is the first story I've read of his where there's kind of no mention, and it's nice that you have that amnesia. But there's still some, like, water magic shenanigans going on.
Oh, yeah.
Which is awesome. You know?
I mean, it's Aquaman, you has to be water-related things happening.
Yeah.
Yeah, obviously.
But I really like the stuff this sets up. I like the tone of the story that Kelly Sue sets up. Like, from the time it starts, you're like, who are all these characters? And there's a mystery to them that starts to unravel as you read just this first part.
Yeah, and
I really like it.
It's a credit to the storytelling that I never was annoyed about these new characters. They're introduced in a really simple, straightforward way. It's not cumbersome. And we get this story of this mysterious island where, as it goes on, we find out all these characters all kind of ended up here. Almost as if they're people who have been like disregarded by the ocean. There's a lot of talk about the ocean being a sentient being in this issue. A lot of they believe the ocean's mother, the goddess, and there's like what was her name? Callie is doing a lot of like ocean dancing, out in the beach during the storm.
Well, I like when it starts.
Matt, you may.
All right.
Yes. So, as I was saying,
I like when it starts that they talk about, like, everyone fights over land, but the Earth's 75% water, but no one seems to fight over the water. The water's just free, And so I like that. Like, well, what happens when the 75% turns on you?
Yeah.
And it's a great idea.
So Aquaman's staying in this place. He's helping out this older couple. They're calling him Andy because they know his name begins with an A because of his belt. But
his belt, I love that.
But they don't know what his name is, so they're just calling him Andy. And one of the big things between him...
That's the question. How long have people been here on this island without, any contact to know of his existence?
Oh, sure, yeah, that's a good point. But one of the things different between Andy here, if we want to call him that, and Rick Grayson, is that Andy's not unlikable. He seems like a perfectly calm, reasonable dude who's helping out these, because he's doing things out of kindness. He's helping these people with their roof. He's helping them with their daily things, as opposed to Rick Grayson, who's just an unlikable asshole from the first second we meet him.
Right.
So that's a big deal.
He's still in his nature. He's helping people,
Yeah, exactly.
So it's like he doesn't know how else to be, and I like that. One of my favorite gags in this was Callie trying to say what his name is, and I have to look at it to say it because it's one of those names, but it's Aruzio.
Yeah,
sure.
Got to roll the R, Matt.
Yeah, I'm not gonna roll the R.
Yeah,
but I like that, and I like that it means orange because it's A. He probably washed up in his costume.
He did. We see
orange.
We see yeah.
So, but yeah, I love that runner. That's what she calls him. And also this is not dependent on anybody else. It's Aquaman. Whereas I talked about earlier where when Abnett was writing, it felt like a team book because there's all these characters coming in and out, and you had Mara and Orm, and
sometimes it's nice to focus in sometimes on
just on Arthur or Andy or whatever. So
I think we get the one hint where they're like, hey, because they ultimately ask him, they think because all the fish are turning up dead, so that they're running low on food, and they think it's because the Nama, I think the name was,
Nama.
This woman who was ostracized because she didn't respect the ocean, and she sort of raged against it, and they ostracize her on this separate little island, and they ask Aquaman to go there and basically give her the thing that they kept from her, which it turns out is Callie, her daughter. So they've been there for at least her entire life because she's an adult now.
Yeah, I assume they didn't all come here together though. They kind of
they've been kind of
and
so that's presumably where we're going with the plot. But they say, hey, we've got this special water that might restore your memory, and he looks into it and he sees Mira, and he doesn't know who it is. He's like, who is this woman? And he feels strongly about it, so obviously there's a hint of feelings there, but he doesn't know who it is. So I like that it's setting up that his past life is important. We're going to get to Mira, we're going to get to that stuff, but right now we're focused on just him sort of discovering who he is. I think one of the things I like about this as well, because I think when we read that Robson Rocha was going to be doing the art, we thought, oh, he's pretty solid, but it's going to be house style. It's going to go back to just kind of looking like Aquaman used to look. And I think largely in the colouring, they've kept a unique style with this, where it feels like its own thing.
I think it's all in the colours. I think Sonny Cho deserves most of the credit here, because we've seen Robson Rocha relatively frequently throughout Rebirth, right?
Yeah.
We rarely go more than a few months without seeing this work, and it's never looked as good as this.
Yeah, I honestly think though it's I think that almost sounds like a discredit to say, oh, I'm going to give it all to the colorist. I think his art is really good. It's just
it doesn't look like any Rocha art that I've really seen.
Yeah,
it still is distinct.
The coloring gives it a different feel, different vibe, and I think the package is much more impressive as a whole.
That's fair. I think it's probably a different inker as well. It feels a lot tighter on the inks. I think it's working a lot better here. So that's why I'm giving a lot of credit to the supporting team on the art here.
Yeah. No, I don't want to. It's when you say it's all them. It feels like you're knocking down the original art. If I guess is what I'm saying.
The pencils are still the base. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But
because what that says to me though is that when they were coming up with this new run and they were planning this first arc and Kelly was there was a conscious choice to have a style. There was a conscious choice to go, no, we want to go with this color palette rather than the typical house style palette. There was a conscious choice to give this a different feel to the rest of the books right now, and I like that. I like that it feels unique. It looks very pretty. So, yeah, it goes well with the stormy vibe that the book has, where there's all these, the waves are crashing. It's constantly raining. Yeah, it's going well with that mood. And the end of the book is when Aquaman runs out to get Callie at the end, because the waves are going to crash into her. The waves kind of basically Red Sea around them. It's kind of like, it's almost as if Mira was there controlling the water, but it's not. It's the ocean itself.
Right.
So that's kind of
you see everyone. Look at him. So I looked up Aruzio, right? Because I was like, well, what language is that for orange? Apparently it's French, right? But
Of course it is. Stupid language that makes no sense.
but because it says there's a town of Arusio in southern Gaul, and Gaul was France, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm asking Connor. Connor knows history a little bit more.
Definitely
but
not
it's-
beach.
But Arusio is also a local Celtic water god,
Yeah.
right? And so I feel like that's where this is going. Wherever this island is, we're gonna get into
Yeah, I feel like
into that stuff.
when we heard this story was going about him washing up on an island with amnesia, I don't
Mm-hmm.
think we stopped and considered that it was going to be like a mysterious
mystical
island,
island.
which
Yeah.
has
Right.
like mythical implications. That
Yeah, well, because I automatically went to like Robinson Crusoe. Oh, it's just an island. He
Yeah.
doesn't know who he is, so he can't get off. But here,
it's more like Lost. It's like no, this
Yeah.
island has a presence. This island has a history, and it's drawn them here because of who they are. So
right?
you know,
And so you start looking at these names, and of course, nothing's ever done without intent in a story, unless it's poorly told. And here, I don't think it is. So,
no, I really like
Yeah.
this actually. I'm
Me
really
too.
I'm on board
Me
for
too.
this run
Yeah, it's
after this
pretty
issue. I'm into it. I think it has great atmosphere.
Mhm.
And it's a different atmosphere than the book had before. Even when it was at its height, with the underworld stuff with Segovia on art, that had great atmosphere. This is a very different atmosphere, which I like. It feels
Yeah.
unique. So,
yeah, Aquaman's building up a quiver of fun runs. Like, and they're all
Finally.
distinct.
yeah.
Yeah, right. Which what you want? I mean, his movie's in theaters now, and
We
his
will be
books.
talking about that very soon.
Yes. Special movie
Yeah.
editions coming tomorrow. With us Steve talking about Aquaman. You can look forward to that. But yeah, and it's actually kind of funny how the new run started the same week that we're talking
Yeah.
about that.
That's good. And
Probably not entirely accidental.
Probably not.
also,
but
I want to put out a challenge. It's not really a challenge, but some recommendations for work by Kelly Sue. That's not Captain Marvel, because if it's as good as this, she's kind of been a blind spot of mine.
she did an image book called Bitch Planet. I don't know if you wanted to try that, but I don't
Yeah,
think
it
that.
was Pretty Deadly was hers as well, right?
Okay.
Was it? Oh.
But yeah, so if anyone
So-
wants to send me some recommendations to check out some stuff, again, Captain Marvel's on my Christmas list, so someone might have got that for me. So
It's
anything else that's not-
all in the Marvel sale and Comicsology. I am tempted to get
Slash
started.
the image sale for anything else that she's done.
Yeah, do you know what I think is interesting about this? Is Kelly Sue does not have to be writing a DC book. So
No.
her and Fraction just got a big movie development deal. This is not out of necessity because she needs the job. This is because she wants to do an Aquaman book. So I think that's encouraging, and it feels like she's got some ideas here from this first issue. It feels like this is going to be her run. It feels different.
Right.
So
And it feels unique to Aquaman. It's not like she's had this idea for, a creator owned, and she's like, oh, I'm just going to plug Aquaman in.
oh yeah.
This feels very unique to Aquaman.
It does, yeah.
So no. So we'll rate the book, Matt. What are you giving Aquaman 43?
This is an 8.5.
Connor.
Yeah, I liked it. I'm gonna 7.5.
I will go. I'm agree with Matt and go with 8.5. I really liked it. I think I had a really good mood and atmosphere. And given I only had 5 new books this week, I'm glad that the new one that was exciting. All on Freedom Fighters, but this was the higher profile one because it was Aquaman and Kelly Sue. But yeah, so we'll move on then to Batman 61, Tom King writing, Travis Moore on art. Joe, I actually just saw someone tweet Travis Moore drawing Stargirl today, and it was gorgeous. Anyway,
Oh man,
so
I have to go and look at that later.
Yep.
so Batman 61, aka a Batman book that's really confusing until it clicks what it's doing. Because
Bro, I read through this like 4 times before I got to the end because I felt I was missing pages. And I was like, do I need to go get a new one?
I read this on the bus earlier and was like, what the hell's going on?
Joe, it's funny.
Is this a Joe? Because obviously this is a part of an arc called Nightmares.
Nightmares.
And I'm like, is this all a dream?
Which, by the way,
Let's go.
Nightmares is going longer than most of the arcs have done because the March issues are still Nightmares. So this is
It's
going.
9 issues.
Yeah.
It's 9 issues. They're all one shots, though, I believe, or in some sense.
Which is cool, but so here's the thing.
What is King doing? He's a madman.
He is a madman. So here's the thing. I was reading this, and about halfway through, I was like, Okay, this is a weird, confusing story, which is supposed to be making me go, this isn't right, because we've got like the Waynes being murdered, but Batman's investigating the Waynes' murder and talking to young Bruce Wayne. You know, you've got these big things.
Yeah, that very first page, I'm like, oh, for God's sake, the Waynes again.
Not the Waynes again.
Yeah. I know.
Well, also
and we said that last week with Detective. Let me finish my point though. So here's the thing: halfway through the book, I'm thinking this is really weird, and confusing. It's supposed to be weird and confusing. This is not meant to make sense yet. And I was like, I think I'm going to like this when I understand what's going on. But there was that worry that by the end of the book it was going to have this ambiguous ending where I wasn't really going to, it was all be all kind of dreamlike and we won't really know what it really is or what it means. It doesn't do that. You get a straight answer. We understand exactly what's happening by the time we get to the end. But I was worried it wouldn't. So I'm glad that it all clicked.
The question is, did you like it when it got to the end and you understood what it was?
That's another question, which we'll get to. But
the thing that got me was, like, yeah, we have Batman showing up with Gordon, but Gordon seems his age now, not when Bruce was younger, and you get Joe Chill like showing what's the word? Not sympathy, remorse, I guess.
Yeah. Oh,
because he talks about the pearls, and you're just like, what is going on here?
Yeah.
Like,
and Joe, I think is genius is that it's been long enough since issue 38, which this is calling back to, and that was the one-shot issue where we learned about this kid Matthew, who's obsessed with being Bruce Wayne. So when it reminds you of that eventually, and you find out that no, this is him, and most of it's in his head. He is using this as an excuse. So basically, we find it because he eventually in the story, the Batman's caught the killer, right? And eventually, Matthew or young Bruce Wayne goes to the prison. But he blades the killer. The guy's trying to apologize, and he blades him in the neck. And then it snaps out of it, and we see that he's actually murdered another inmate because he's obviously in a prison right now because he's obviously what he's been doing. And they're going to send him to Arkham because even though he's a kid, he's so dangerous that they're just going to ship him off there.
Because they tell him he has a list of people that he's done this to.
Yeah.
The one that got me was the belt. Where the security guard's like, oh, are you wearing a belt, little guy? And you're like, wait a minute. I don't care where you go. They'll make you, kid or no, you got to take the belt off.
Yeah.
What's going on here?
Yeah, I can confirm that.
So, yeah.
Connor's got a dark past.
Yeah, that's what it sounded like, Connor. I know what you meant, but it made it sound like, yeah, I spent some time in prison.
Yeah, I did some time in juvie.
That was the intention.
So man, and the way that he murders that inmate too, is straight up brutal with a razor blade.
Yeah, it's straight up dark. And so it's funny. That was a really weird issue at the time, issue 38. To talk about it, it was like, oh, this weird kid who's obsessed with being Bruce Wayne. And then coming back to it now, I think I like the issue pretty much. I think it maybe went a bit far with the Martha and Thomas things in the face. That was a bit too.
Yeah, but you got to give him his ass look. Right?
Yeah, I suppose. I guess now we know for sure that it's always him and not actual young Bruce because now he always have those scars.
I think for me, this once it clicked in, it's like what the issue was. I'm like, okay, this is at least it makes sense.
Yeah.
But I didn't really enjoy reading it because as I'm reading it, I'm going, what's going on? I wasn't getting any enjoyment out of it. I was like, all right, I get it. But
I feel that's the manipulation at play by King.
Yeah, but
whatever these have in store,
I feel like it went too far for me, and it went on too long. Because it's like 90% of the issue, right? And it's like the last couple of pages that it's revealed. I'm like, okay, whatever.
So what confused me is the last issue ended with Thomas Wayne of Flashpoint showing up, and so I was like, wait a minute, this is not how that origin went. Like I thought, like Thomas was going to get up and Bruce was going to get. I was like, oh, okay, well we're revisiting this. Okay, no, that's not what it is. Okay, well, and then it turns out to be this. So now I find out they're all kind of one shots. It makes me wonder what the hell is going on with Batman.
I've got a feeling that Batman has been taken by Flashpoint Batman, and I don't think that he's seeing this one specifically, but I get the feeling that. I mean, are we going to go through 9 stories that effectively don't have Batman in it as a main character because Batman's been taken?
I'm gonna have to go and look at some solicits
because this didn't technically have any Batman in it because it was just about the kid. Everything with Batman was just like his made up story in his head that was justifying the murder of this guy, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Are they all like that? Is it all focused on different characters?
Oh
no.
The other thing that Go ahead.
The next issue is still about this young Matthew.
Okay. So
Um,
so one shots was maybe not the most accurate description.
yeah. 63 seems to be very different though. 63 is with Constantine.
If all of these, if this whole arc Kingsman read is about the taking apart Batman and Bruce Wayne and then reassembling him, I wonder if this is Thomas Wayne's going to go to him and be like, "Yo, this kid can't let out. You just have to take him out." You know what I mean? Because that's Thomas Wayne's all about that.
I'm wondering if like all these Nightmare issues are all basically setting up other people who are going to be on Bane's side. Like if this kid's ultimately going to be recruited by Bane.
Yeah.
You know, does this Constantine story set up one of the mythical characters in Gotham that's on Bane's side? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Could be.
But I can just definitely see this because they're all representative of Bruce. Like, there's an aspect there. So, but I just want to know why Bane went to Tom and how he got the Flashpoint Batman. Like, there's so much here, and normally old me would have been like, well, this is BS. I don't know what's going on. But King's earned it, so I'm willing to see where this goes before.
Well, no, just glance at the solicits. You know, I said, oh, yeah, it's 9 issues. It runs till 69, but we have the break for the Flash crossover with 64 and 65.
Yeah.
It's
okay,
not actually that much longer.
No. Okay, so it's actually just like 6 issues. It's just taking a break off for 2 issues.
Yeah,
that makes sense. That's fair enough.
But yeah, so
which is interesting. It's interesting that to get the end of that cliffhanger, we might be waiting until like April,
70?
May.
70 to 74 is a storyline called The Fall and the Fallen, and then 75 is the event that we don't know about yet.
Wait, is that still Nightmares? That's who you just said?
No. Nightmares ends with 69.
Which is what month?
Well, I mean, 64 is in.
Because I'm pretty sure the March issue still had Nightmares in the solicits in the description.
They may well have.
So how are you knowing about issues beyond that?
Because King tweeted telling us the plan.
Oh right, okay.
Did you not see? Did we not talk about this last week?
Maybe I don't remember what it said though.
Damn it!
It's been a whole
Had
week.
I read the summary, it's all in the summary. So I'm glad I didn't, because it gives it all away.
Does it?
Yeah, I just read the 62 solicit gives it away as well. I'm like, yeah, I'm glad I don't read it to that extent.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
All right. Okay.
But yeah.
Well.
So what? No grades now.
Yeah, we did grades. Matt, what do you give it the book?
Yeah. So as an experience, it's kind of high, but as a cohesive story, it's kind of So I'm gonna give it a 7.
Yeah. What are you giving it, Connor?
I'm going with a 6.
It's a weird one. I feel like this Nightmare little section where we're doing all these sort of like shorter stories are probably gonna be really experimental, for better or worse. So yeah, I'll probably go with a 7 as well. I think I like some of the beats in it. Like the art. Art's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just checked the numbers. So March's solicits go up to 67. So April will be 68, 69. So May will be when we potentially get back to the other stuff.
Assuming we don't get the result of that cliffhanger in the middle of Nightmares, because it might like sort of weave its way into that. But
it could do, yeah.
But I'm kind of thinking we don't now, and it makes it weird for this Flash crossover. Does that just set before that cliffhanger, maybe?
Well, maybe that. Well, no, because remember he always had that idea. He just didn't have time to write it, so he passed it to Josh Williamson. So I'm wondering if this has to do with Flashpoint Batman, because you think that
could do.
Well, maybe that's related to what Flash is doing. Yeah.
Yep. So, maybe even with the different forces on the Force Quest.
I hope the rest of the like this one was all really trying to play the mystery and it went for me it went too far with the bit of what it was doing.
Well, now we know, so presumably next issue won't.
Well, that's what I mean. So I feel like it can't do that every issue. You know, when it changes his character and does other stuff throughout.
I don't think it will, because I think King does like to do different things. Like Pete was saying, it's going to be a little bit more experimental.
Yeah. So I'm hoping this is like my least favorite of this arc. In which case, I can live with it.
All right, so we'll move on then to Justice League issue 14. James Tynion. No, it's not. It's just Snyder. This one. Isn't
Snyder.
it?
Yeah.
No, it's co-written.
It's co-written.
Is it?
I think so because I noticed when I was reading Snyder's having a lot of co-writers.
No, you're right actually.
As of late. Yeah.
Snyder
and Tynion.
Yeah. Interestingly, Tynion's not on the cover credit, which is why I thought it wasn't.
But he gets on the title page, he gets credited with words, but him and Snyder stories. So I'm noticing this a lot more, and I don't know if Snyder's just
I wonder if this is just because it's double shipping and Snyder keeping up with it and planning all the events. He just needs help.
It's because he's got a promotion in the works and he's planning for things.
Maybe. So Thanagar Prime. This is where we go to Thanagar Prime. We come back to Hawk Girl, Jean, and John, and they're on Thanagar Prime.
Yeah, this is the bulk of the issue.
This is the bulk. There's a lot about the start and the end with the rest of the team and Starman's head lighting up, but but for the most part, and obviously Jarrow's calling Batman Pop. He's like, I'm tough. I'm tough, just like you, Pop.
Yeah. Oh man, Jarrow's the best.
So, but the main plot is on Thanagar Prime, and so I'm curious. You two have been reading Hawkman. Does any of this make more sense to you because you've been reading Hawkman?
Yes, it does.
It does. Interesting.
So this is how I settled my brain as I was reading. Timey-wimey, because as we learned in Interstellar, gravity and space and stuff affect dilation of time. So I feel like through travel through
Interstellar,
as
humanity learned through Christopher Nolan's Interstellar.
Let me clarify. As I learned in Interstellar, because quantum physics, don't get me. Pete was talking. He's great in math. I'm the opposite.
I like how Einstein's relativity just got reduced to as we learned in Interstellar.
Yeah, but because I feel like Interstellar did a really good job at explaining to me how gravity affects time.
Okay. Do you know what's funny is I read the Black Hammer mini today or last night, Dr. Star, and this interstellar science was very relevant in that mini.
It was, yeah.
Okay. So, anyways, as we know in Hawkman, he's jumping. He's been jumping in through time and space and different, and we know that now because he made that deal in the afterlife.
Yeah.
To even out all the lives that he took.
Yeah.
Sure.
So I feel like Kendra makes a big deal that her and Shayra are the same person, so they shouldn't be able to coexist.
Well, let's explain this because we kind of jumped ahead. We've not even said what's going on yet. So they're on Thanagar Prime, and Shayra Hall shows up, who should technically be a previous version of Kendra. And then, of course, by the end, once they realise that Shayra's hiding stuff and that the Martian and the Elder is actually alive because they said he was dead, Savage Hawkman shows up, who's Qatar Hall, who of course should be a previous version of Carter Hall.
Shayra, we haven't covered any of her stuff in Hawkman yet as to why she reincarnates, whereas Hawkman, it's established that he is reincarnating across space and time.
Right.
So he can literally be anywhere at any point in time.
Right.
So the fact that he can be reincarnated as two versions at the same time is not implausible.
Well, no, not just that. I feel like we're in a different time with this. So these are the previous versions, but through timey-wimey, they're interacting.
I'm not saying I have a problem with this, but I am going to say that this explanation feels like just a bullshit way of saying this means that any Hawkman writer can do any Hawkman they want, because there can be multiples at the same time.
I think it is, because Hawkman's such a tangled mess of continuity. John's is just kind of going, well, they're all
Venditti just kind of went,
and then Venditti's like,
you can do whatever you want.
Venditti's like, yeah, they're all correct. Plus, I'm going to add a Kryptonian. Plus, I'm going to add a microverse, and
of course,
you guys are going to like it. So,
such a good book.
But I feel like these are, I don't want to say versions, but these are them. So just in a different context.
When they've traveled to Thanagar Prime, they've slipped into the past, or this version of Thanagar Prime is stuck in the past, like it's
because they talk about that there's the wings around it.
Yeah, it's hidden. It's out of phase of the rest of the universe.
And so because it's out of phase, they're out of time and they're out of space. So these ones can always, I don't want to say occur here, but this is where they are. Yeah. So they are Shiera Hole and they are Qatar Hole, and either they've been warped by the Dark Multiverse, or they are just going to protect whatever they're hiding like it's their life. They don't care who shows up. They don't care if someone claiming to be the next hot girl is there with a Martian and a Green Lantern.
Yeah, and also, to be fair to it, that is part of the central mystery of what's going on here.
Yeah.
So it's not like it's a huge problem right now. No. It's like, no, they're going to give some form of explanation over the art.
Oh, sure, yeah. I mean, it's not that confusing. This wasn't like Batman where I was having trouble, like, what the hell's going on here? It was just, okay, all right, so we have...
How is this happening?
No, but I just...
Honestly, here's the thing that makes it work. It's because Kendra herself says, I don't understand why this is happening. This shouldn't be right. She's like a past version of me. Because the character feels that way, I don't feel alienated. Because the character feels that way, it feels like that's how I'm supposed to feel, and it feels like I'm along with her for the ride, and that's fine. Yeah. My favourite beat in this whole issue, though, might be Kendra trying to get Jean to dance, and Jean being like, nah.
Yeah, Kendra being like, look, I've reincarnated more times than you can count. I've danced in every civilization. Yeah. Come on, let's go do it.
My favorite beat is John trying to figure out why they're off of the system and what the deal with the Guardians is. Because even though he's told to leave it, the soldier in him's like, nah, that's not my mission. Yeah. So also him admiring the architecture that doesn't make sense.
Yeah, that was cool.
Metal.
Yeah, it's just such a small beat, but it's like, of course he does.
It makes sense. I also like that during the part, because the emotional scenes between Kendra and Jean, talking about the dancing, but also it's where Jean kind of admits, because she says, yeah, but what about Miss Martian? She's a Green Martian. He's like, no, she's not. And he explains, who she is. And that was the important stuff. I love when they call in John, because Kendra, touches Shiera and she gets like a vision of like the fact that they're lying to them.
Right.
I love that John is just chatting up random alien chicks at the party. He's not even doing anything important. That's all he's doing.
He's trying to get information about the deal with the Guardians.
Yeah.
Nah, he's chatting up chicks.
I think I think he has to channel Hal though, because that's not who John is.
Yeah, if this was Hal or Guy. Yeah, he's just chatting up the chicks.
He is under the precedent that he's pumping for information, but he's just really trying to pump. That's all that's happening.
Wow.
See, I feel like you are misjudging John as a character.
Me too.
I'm just saying, the way he's holding that drink and he's chatting up the ladies.
John carries a torch for Katmatui, please. He is not trying to get any other alien skirt.
Also, I didn't mean to, but I kind of hit on a reference to the hit television show Buffy the Vampire Slayer with my joke there. Because
even Matt's game.
There's a great line of dialogue in Season 6 where Spike says to Buffy, you've just come to pump me for information, and then Buffy says, what else would I pump you for? I really just said that, didn't I? That's a great joke.
I swear, you need a New Year's resolution to stop making these shitty Buffy references.
Never.
I don't want to say bothers me, because it doesn't bother me like it bothers Connor, but the fact that it's just happening in conversation, and he's just like, oh yeah, this reminds me of that one time. Like, because he's not doing it on purpose, Connor. Like, that wasn't planned.
Well, that one was.
A
lot of them are, though. A lot of them I do it intentionally. If anything, my New Year's resolution will be to fit in 2 Buffy references per episode, so just count your chickens.
You will alienate our viewers.
Well, I'll keep it at 1 then. Stop complaining.
So, but no, I liked a lot of the character beats in this one. This was a nice change of pace from where we've been, because, like, the last issue we all agreed was pretty ungood. Like,
the last one was rough.
Yeah, and then before that, like, Jarvis was fine, but it wasn't like, hey, like...
That was fun. So, I mean, the art was kind of all over the place, and it made me wish that Fraser Irving was on the whole thing, but, like, I thought it was a big fun pulpy event. I had fun with that.
So, but here also we get some more of Starman and Darrow.
Worth noting, different artist as well.
Yeah, which is nice.
Yeah.
Because different places.
Yeah, that's fine. What I liked about, or not liked, but what I noticed here is that Starman starts to flare up as stuff's happening on Thanagar Prime at the end. It feels like it's linked. It feels like he's, starting to light up and go nuts because of what's happening in Thanagar Prime.
I also like that Superman comes in and sees that Batman has put Jarro on Starman,
And it's like, what the
and
hell are you
just
doing?
flips out and rips it off, and Jarro yells, "My tentacles,
Tentacles.
tentacles!" Oh, and like
Because they're basically saying to Batman, his mind has been booby trapped by Lex Luthor for any psychic invasion.
Right.
So you're linking yourself to Jarro, and you know, by proxy Starman, you're doing serious damage to yourself.
I do like that Batman was like, "Hey, Jarro, you all right?"
yeah.
He checked in. Batman's a
Batman
good
does
guy.
have compassion for sidekicks. He wouldn't have so many if he didn't. Wait a minute. He wouldn't have so many if he didn't. That's not true. Because he'd just have one if he had more compassion for sidekicks.
I don't know. He'd have at least 3.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, anyways, but no, I like that backplot there that ties it there because Batman's all upset that the totality got stolen and whatnot. So
Yeah, he blames
I get it.
himself. He's like, I'm the one who let them get to the totality because I couldn't take them out. Even though my arms and legs were broken, he won't accept defeat because he's Batman. So that was. I liked that this issue kind of slowed things down a bit. It gave us obviously the big cliffhangers at the end, but for the most part, it was just them dealing. Okay, what's going on here in Thanagar Prime? That is just kind of slow down and get.
There's a lot of little character beats.
Yeah, because I think one of my main faults with this book at times is sometimes that it's doing so much big shit and spouting so much exposition that it needs to cool down. And
yeah, I know. Snyder did say it was going to slow down and do character moments, and there's sometimes you don't necessarily believe that. It could be just false sense of security till the big thing happens.
Yeah, because I will say this. I don't expect slow moments in the arc in March, whatever it was called. I can't remember now. Sixth Dimension.
But that's a 3-issue arc. You tell one big tight story. That's fine.
Boom, boom, boom. Yeah.
Well, I think it's a 3-issue arc because of the covers. It could be 6 and there could be 2 of those, but I mean, who knows?
I mean, there could be. Yeah. I'm assuming 3 because of that.
Yeah, which makes sense. It's a solid logic, but
yeah.
But no, it was because obviously we have went without like these 3 characters for the whole last arc, so it was nice to catch up with them again.
Yeah, definitely.
And the fact that what they're doing is really interesting, and it's kind of what I signed on to Justice League for, was all this type of stuff. So it got right back into that groove, and I really appreciate that. It's funny because me and my friend Jared were talking about how Justice League's kind of faltering and it's on shaky grounds with him. Like I can never quit it because of the show, it's a flagship book. But he was like, yeah, if this issue's not good, I'm done. And then he read it and messaged me. He's like, okay, I'm still in for it right now.
Well, I don't think you were faltering though, right? Like you wouldn't have.
It was
considered
one.
I wasn't.
Issue.
Yeah.
No, I wasn't, but I wasn't excited. Like it wasn't.
Sure,
it's like usually the first book I read, but I'm like. After that Joker issue, this wasn't the first issue I read.
That's what happens after you have a random third of an issue. You just don't feel that excited for the next one. But
that issue is so strange. It was such a strange issue, and it's weird. Look at this is back on top form. Tynion's just as involved in this issue as he was.
I feel like that was like a weird issue that was there to keep the double shipping up when they should have just probably taken half a month off.
Yeah, I agree.
It's maybe the one thing that we should give Marvel credit for is that they do 3 issues over 2 months
when it needs it.
Yeah. Or I like to think of it as a 3-week schedule. That's not always true, depending on how it's scheduled, but kind of the idea you get an issue every 3 weeks instead of every 4 weeks.
Yeah, the idea that they'll double ship and then single ship, and alternate like that, and then it means that it doesn't get quite as rushed, but you still get issues at a pretty good pace.
Yeah, it feels quicker, but it doesn't feel. Yeah, so that's what it is. But no, it was a solid issue. Justice League. What are you giving it, Matt?
Yep, coffee. It's an 8.
It's choked him up.
I like the art. Yeah, I can't believe I did that. Yeah, it's an 8.
Yeah, what are you giving it, Carl?
Yeah, I'm going with an 8 too.
I will also give it a straight 8. I think it was solid.
Ooh.
There you go. Trifecta. So that'll take us on to Catwoman number 6, Joelle Jones, both writing and art. This is the end of the first arc, the Copycats arc, and it is almost entirely an action scene of Catwoman going through the mansion to get to the villain, taking out her guards, or the corrupt cop, her son at one point, who ends up getting accidentally killed in the final confrontation. It's a very quick read, this issue, because it is just all action. There's a lot of 2-page layouts of Catwoman like hitting things. And it looks pretty nice. Like, it looks good because of that. because
Yeah,
Joelle Jones is
the
great.
art, Joel Jones, but the story I was not digging because I had to go back to issue 5 and remember how that ended
Mm-hmm.
because this didn't feel like that was a follow-up. Like I know she was going to the mansion and she was upset because of stuff with her sister, but this just felt kind of messy in that way.
Yeah, because she got captured, right, and then she broke out at the end of the
Yeah,
issue.
yeah. So
Yeah. Does Connor read
man, it
Catwoman?
was
Because I wasn't sure if he was going
No.
to. He did
No,
not.
I looked at
Gotcha.
it and went, I don't want to.
yeah,
That's
it's kind
fair.
of this. It's my least favorite of the issues, just because I liked how they built up the villain, and I can't even remember her name right now. But
Like, here's the thing for me in terms of why I chose not to read it is, if a book's bad, but I feel like I've got something to say about it, I'll read it and be like, no, it's these things. But with this, I've not been enjoying it for a few issues now, and I probably only really liked the first couple, and even then I had problems. I don't want to just every issue, which is why I'm probably not going to read this again. Is just I don't want to sit here every issue and just be like, yeah, I didn't really like it. I haven't got anything constructive to add.
Yeah.
no, and that's fair. I have been enjoying it, and this one was just like, yeah, it was just an action scene, but it felt kind of messy, and I still don't know why the villain had all the copycat. Like this was called copycats, and I still
Yeah.
don't know why
It was
that was part of it.
It was such a minor part of the overall plot that it doesn't.
Yeah.
I don't understand why it was there either. I think. I mean, I enjoyed this show well enough because it's mostly just nice art during the action sequence, and as that, it's pretty solid. I think the problems I have with it would probably be more of, okay, if I look at the arc as a whole, what did we accomplish in the arc? And I don't know if we accomplished anything really.
No, and like I like the whole idea of the villain. Like she has this whole drug ring set up as the governor's wife, so she gets away with it under his nose, and then he finds out and she has to get rid of him. So now she's acting as governor.
Yeah, the only real plot beats is that now Selena's sister's living with her, and that's it.
Yeah.
Like, that is the only thing that they've really set up.
Yeah, and the villain sworn vengeance for the death of her son, and the crooked cop is in jail.
Yes, he's been caught.
You know, so like yeah, stuff happened, but it doesn't feel consistent with the rest of the story. It almost feels like a rush job. It was like, well, I got to tie up these threads, and here they go. Because this felt like this arc could have gone on.
Yeah, I feel like this should have been at least 2 issues longer. We should have spent more time setting up the motivations of the villain, things like that. It feels kind of, I don't know, very surface level at its current point, which is a shame. Because,
and you know,
like I say, it wasn't a bad read. It was a quick read. The action looked good.
Yeah.
It just felt like we're done with this arc already. It just feels like
yeah,
there's more.
it wasn't so much a bad read as much as it was a disappointing read. You know, so and also we found out this week that Jones is not going to continue to draw it. She's only going to be scripting, so she's done as of the next issue.
Yeah, she'll be off art.
7, which is kind of why I was here for that. So I'll give issue 8, the first one that she, to see where the story goes. And if it doesn't kind of ship up before that, I was kind of there for the art. I'll probably just drop it and
man,
come
week
back
3 is going to be quiet if Catwoman gets dropped.
Yeah,
It's going to get really quiet.
We really need new books on week 3.
We do. So, no, Matt, what are you rating it?
that was a 5.
I'm going to be slightly more positive. I still think it was a nice read because of, I think it flowed well and the art was good. So I'm going to give it a 6. But I think my disappointment with it comes more from just, wait, that was the arc? That was it? Like, there wasn't more to it?
And then that's where a lot of my 5 comes from, because the art is great. Like, it's a great action sequence, but,
Yeah, I mean, you want a good conclusion to any story, though, right? And if that lets you down, that can
Well,
definitely...
here's the weird thing. I don't even think the conclusion's bad. I think it just didn't do enough with the villains before we got to this conclusion.
Yeah. Well, there's the term "stick the landing," and this is, you didn't stick the landing, you landed with a thud. Like, sure, you made it off the building.
Well, again, I would say no. The landing is fine. It just, you jumped too quick. You jumped to that landing
missing
point too
half
quick.
the routine.
Yes, you missed half the routine and just landed. It was kind of weird. But yeah, I'm making noises. I'm hitting desks. But that's Catwoman issue 6. So we'll see how issue 7 is next month, and decide from there. But we'll wrap up the new books this week with a new issue 1 for a maxi series, Freedom Fighters issue 1, Robert Venditti writing, or as I've written down with a typo, Robert Venditti, and art by Eddy Barrows, who, of course, I know mainly from some Detective Comics. Yeah.
That's not a typo. That's just his name on Earth X.
Oh, is it?
So, yeah.
Venditti.
This is a documentary from Earth X. So
sure. So this starts off with flashbacks to the original Freedom Fighters all being wiped out by Nazis.
I mean, yeah, you say it starts off. It's like 3/4 of the issue.
Yeah.
Oh, sure. I guess just in the sense that, like, when I think of this book, I think of that as the prelude to the main story, because that's where it really starts, is after that.
Well, see, this is the thing. I agree in terms of the book as a whole, as the story, the 12-issue story. I agree, but in terms of this issue, I feel like it's dominated by that prelude section. I feel that's the main bulk of the issue.
Well, I don't actually disagree with that. I'm just summing up the thing, Connor.
So
I'm summing it up.
I feel like
you ginger shit.
Damn it. So I just feel like I got done with this book and I was like, oh, okay, that's it. Like, because it felt like it was just getting going. Like Pete was kind of hinting at. Well, the first good part of it is setting up the original Freedom Fighters, but where it leaves off, it's a nice jump.
As someone who's not that familiar with these characters, right? I actually kind of appreciate that it killed them all off halfway through and said, no, we're starting from scratch again, but we're going to introduce you to all these new versions, and that's what the book's going to be.
As long as we get more Plastic Men.
Plastic Men, yes, the
SS.
Yes, the SS Plastic Men. That was good. So here's the thing. I did not like Venditti's Green Lantern. I did not like Venditti's Flash. I tried Venditti's Hawkman a couple of issues, and it was okay, but you guys liked it way more than I did.
Yeah.
I dropped it. I actually think this is the issue I've liked the most that I've read from Venditti. And I think it's because it took the time to just kind of... I like how decompressed this is, bizarrely, where I feel like it was going at a pace where he wasn't just throwing ideas in. It felt like it moved at a natural thing. Because obviously it jumps ahead to is it present day or close to present day?
Yeah,
it's
present day.
Yeah, because they're celebrating this the Black Friday Massacre, whatever it was called, where they killed all the freedom fighters.
So this is where I can tell Venditti's probably had this idea for a long time, because it is so well developed in points in American history. So this is an alternate history where the Nazis have won World War II. They've slowly taken over the United States, and it's in 1963, November 22nd, which is the day that Kennedy got assassinated. So it's still a black day in history, but this is a day where it seemed like the not the freedom fighters team, but like the last bastion of freedom died, and the Nazis were able to get their.
It's like a kind of point on this. That's the day that America properly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So I what's funny is that I went into this not expecting to like it because it was Venditti. And I came out being like, you know what, that wasn't bad. I'll try issue 2. I came out feeling kind of positive. So
as we all know how I feel about these, Nazis are the best villains because they're so easy to hate. Like, go check out our Overlord review. I feel on that for a lot. And whatnot. And I just like hear what he did with this alternate history. Like, he makes Jesse Owens, who beat out Hitler's sprinter at the Olympics in the 30s before World War II kicks off. Well, now he's the central figure of the resistance, and in the past. And then when we jump to the future, you get this whole idea like that legacy still lives on, but it's an undercurrent, and we can't openly talk about this. So when they do attack, and you see the Nazi officers in the neighborhoods, and they confiscate a baseball because that was America's pastime, and now it's not.
And of course
there's all these little things that just work.
And it all culminates with the new freedom fighters of this new generation showing up and kind of assassinating some of these officers who were involved in the original. Yeah. So we get these new versions, and it's like, oh, here we are. It's not Doll Man, it's Doll Woman. We've got the human bombs still here, and it sets up these new characters. So
and they're on the lookout for Uncle Sam, which I always like the idea of Uncle Sam being this idea, given physical form. So he can, we see him take out some Nazis, right? The plastic men.
Yeah, and then Obi-Wan's out.
And so, oh my God, Obi-Wan that's perfect, Connor.
He does. He just vanishes and the clothes
Yeah.
fall to the floor.
And then it ends with the cliffhanger as like a Nazi sentinel coming for the freedom fighters.
Yeah, looks like the Iron Giant, which pisses me off, which I think is what the point is. You know? And how dare you corrupt that beautiful creature? So, yeah.
I was surprisingly into this. I was not expecting to like this, and it was gonna, it's not bad. It's gonna.
So I was telling Pete before we signed on to do all this. I was reading a wiki article just to familiarize my right. And so we all know that me and Pete really enjoyed the Justice League of China and Superman. Well, it turns out Keenan's father's team, the Freedom Fighters of China, were loosely based on the Freedom Fighters characters. So the human bomb, he was the human firecracker, and straight on up, which never would have realized. Which is again,
I thought the human bomb is really interesting as a power. It's like, okay, you touch something and it explodes.
Yeah.
It's
because at one point when they're being attacked in the past, it's because the plastic men are trying to like touch his arms together. He's like, no, if my hands touch, I'm going to blow up. That's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
So this is interesting. I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued enough to check, which is good because there's only 5-6 books on a week 3. So
yeah. Oh, I'm so down with this. I was down from the time it was announced, and now with the first bite. I'm hooked. And
I like Eddy Barrows' art. I think the evil plastic men looked quite good, especially.
I thought they looked pretty good. I do wish we had. I think Barrows is good, and especially for the present day stuff, where it's a little bit more colorful. It's not doing here's the '60s look. I think he's great for that. I would have loved a different artist to really lean into the horror even more of those plastic men.
Yeah,
sure.
Early on,
I mean the
good.
The German accents were bone chilling enough the way they're written out. So
there's like the panel where it's the mouth opening up wide. I'm like, that looks pretty good, but I can imagine that by some other artists being phenomenal, like that concept. But it's still enjoyable.
Yeah.
What do you give it, Matt?
Oh, so this was an 8.5 as well. Like, I really thoroughly enjoyed this.
Okay. Connor?
Yeah, I enjoyed it. It's a 7.
Yeah, I'm going with a 7. Which was more than I was expecting. I was expecting not to like this. But hey, sometimes you try things you might not like because sometimes they'll surprise you. It was okay. I mean, maybe I'll go downhill. Maybe I'll just not like issue 2 and it'll just quickly fizzle out for me. But issue 1 wasn't bad. I'm kind of into it. I'm kind of into the resistance and fighting the Nazis. Let's do it. Alright, so that takes us on to the punishment picks for the month. So we're going to start off with Connor with Red Hood Outlaw issue 27, Scott Lobdell and Pete Woods.
Just answer me this real quick. Is he still carrying the crowbar?
Wait, actually, hold on.
No, but he's not in costume in this issue.
Before we move on, I should explain what the punishment issues are. I should always do that at the start of this section. So, on patreon.com/MailFuzzTV, there are tiers where you can make me and Connor read books at a higher price. And that is what these are. So, if you go to patreon.com/MailFuzzTV, you have the option of doing that. And Connor has 2 to do, I have 1 to do. So, Red Hood's the first one.
I will say both the regular cover and the variant cover are him with the crowbar. But I don't recall it appearing. Like I said, I think he's not in costume at all issue. I don't believe. So no crowbar action. This issue is. This is very clear from the first page what this issue is. This is the issue where he finds out about Roy.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it's very focused in that sense. It starts with him leaving a voicemail for Roy, and then cuts back a couple hours before. I don't know. And he goes into this diner, and some guys are dicks, so he starts a fight, hits them with the coffee jar and stuff like that, like the glass pot. And then some huge dude shows up and is about to clobber him, and he falls down, and Bruce is there. It's just taken out with like 2 fingers, and he's like, "Oh, hey, we should probably talk." Yeah, you know your friend Roy. shit kind of happened.
Oh God.
Yeah, and there's a bit of a debate about what happened with Penguin, because if you recall, Jason shot Penguin, and Bruce is like, yeah, you're never coming back to Gotham. You know, you're not even going to Arkham. You're never coming back to that city. He goes, but Cobblepot didn't die yet, so technically you didn't break the deal that we had, even though you tried. So, tiny bit of leniency. Yeah, I know.
Okay.
People like this book. I don't get it.
Yeah, I don't get it. The art's great. Pete Woods is really good.
Yeah.
It's a very minimalist style for the most part. You know, lots of block colors and stuff like that, but it looks good. And basically, you know, they hug it out. Jason's like, "Hey, you know, I know you hate me," and Bruce is like, "No, I don't hate you. You're a dick bag. What is it?" He goes, "You can be an insolent bonehead. Do you need an occasional kick in the ass? Yeah, I don't deny it. At the end of the day, I've got your 6, and I know you have mine." You know, they hug it out, and you can see them. Obviously, they're in civvies here, and then they're out in the rain. So in the puddle, you can see their costumes in the reflection, and that's the issue. You know, he walks off into the rain and leaves a voicemail for Roy.
Again, I will add in my theory here again that Roy is the only one who actually dies in Heroes in Crisis, because it's the only one who's actually rippled into the other book. Everyone else is in a simulation. Everyone else has not actually happened, but Roy's actually dead.
Yeah, it does feel like Roy is dead, though. This is the 3rd book that it's affected.
Yeah. You've had Green Arrow,
Titans, Green Arrow.
And then Roy goes off to is in this little town, and he's like, goes into get a hotel room, whatever it is, and someone's scoping him out, and they're like, they can see his costume. They've got X-ray vision of some sort, maybe. I don't know. They can tell he's got his costume underneath the stuff that he's wearing, and they're like, "Yeah, we've probably got a problem." We don't know who they are. They're just over a radio talking to their boss. So that's where it's going next.
Well, good news is, Connor, is that to make up a top 5 at the end, you can include this because.
Nope, it's not from this week. It doesn't count.
We can bend the rules just this one, so you can get your favorite book on there.
No, we're not.
Oh dear.
All right, you done? You rating it?
It's a 4. It's not the worst issue because Jason's not being a total dickbag all issue. Bruce feels a bit out of character, being like, you did shoot Cobblepot in the face. You did try and murder him, but I guess you technically did.
They don't give out Nobel Prizes for attempted fusion.
I feel like you're defending Bruce here.
No, I just wanted to make that. It's an old Simpsons line. I just
don't want to. I don't appreciate the insinuation though.
That was what's his face? Bob, Sideshow Bob.
Yeah.
That was his line.
Those are always the best episodes.
I haven't seen a Simpsons episode in over 15 years, but I remember that episode quite vividly. Moving on, I have Hawk and Dove issue 7, the penultimate issue in the New 52 Hawk and Dove. I am both terrified and excited. Excited to end this stupid run.
Nightwing next.
Terrified as to what will be replacing it, what Tyler will enforce upon me. But, yeah, so this is Rob Liefeld, once again, writing and art, as you do.
No feet whatsoever.
It's just nice hearing that Liefeld on everything, and I'm not reading it.
Yeah, here's the thing about Liefeld. From how I understand, he's a very nice guy, but I feel his creative juices have run dry. So
a long time ago.
So
yeah,
this issue starts with they're in a nightclub for some reason. Dove apparently has been going out and clubbing every night and getting drunk, and Hawk's basically been acting as their bodyguard because he doesn't really want to go. The opening page spread has Dove in a skin-tight dress that is as small as humanly possible.
Oh, jeez.
It is atrocious. Absolutely
New
52. Rob Liefeld. But, yeah, so basically some guy tries to hit on her. Hank gets pissed, comes up and punches him. And Dove's like, I could take care of myself when he pulls her out of the club. And he's like, every night it's the same thing, Dove. Club after club. Each night the same bad music, the same fruity drinks. I can't watch it. And I'm like, are we really doing a plot here where Dove's going out clubbing every night because she can't get over the fact that Deadman dumped her? Like, or she dumped Deadman. Who dumped her? I can't remember who dumped her.
Well, that's a good
It was
sign.
mutual, Pete.
Oh, dear. So they're basically arguing. It gets deflated really quickly, though, where Hank's just like, I really care about you, Dove. That's all this is. And then he's like, oh, that's the sweetest thing anyone's ever said to me in a long time. I'll cool my heels, I promise. Hug. And then out of nowhere, a harpoon hits Hank. A harpoon hits Hank.
He's not a whale, though, so that's weird.
So they hawk and Dove up, and they go up to the roof to confront this would-be assassin. It is a character who is only referred to as the Hunter. And he has an awful costume. He's got an eye patch. He's got.
He better just be Captain Ahab. If he's not Captain Ahab, I'm gonna be pissed.
He's got. It's kind of a pirate-looking top he's got, where it's just kind of open, and like most of his chest and like abdomen are actually on display. It's kind of ugly and stupid.
I'm imagining a massive Liefeld chest, Captain America.
So they basically, well, honestly, most of the issue is them fighting. He cuts off Hawk's fingers of one hand. Now Hawk will regenerate them because of his healing factor, but he's lost his fingers for a bit. Basically, he's there to steal the talons of Hawk and some hair of Dove. As he refers to it as her feathers. He cuts off a little bit of her feathers because his employer, whoever hired him for this, wants those items.
It sounds like a witch's brew.
Yeah, but he tries to kill him anyway, and it's actually out of nowhere. Because I never even realised there was a third party that shows up until the reveal of who it is. Because he gets smacked from behind off panel and you don't really see it. And I thought it was just Hawk or Dove. And
let me guess, it's Kestrel.
And so he teleports out there with his fancy bracelet. And then we have this person who's got a purple streak in their hair. And despite the fact that she's wearing a hoodie, the boobs somehow are still like completely fully formed and like as if it's like skin tight. Like, I don't know how you do that with what's clearly supposed to be a baggy hoodie.
You buy the hoodie about 6 sizes too big, and then you have double-sided tape on the inside.
I'm just gonna I don't know if the camera will adjust to this, but I'm gonna just. I don't know if you can see that. Obviously, audio people aren't getting none of this.
I can just barely.
Yeah, it's really bad.
God, that is 2011 in one image.
And my favourite part is they don't even match. The right boob is clearly bigger on the left boob, and obviously,
hey, that happens.
It does happen, but visible through a hoodie.
No, probably not.
Anyway, so she's like, avatars, our time is short, we must escape. And they're like, who the hell are you? And she's like, I'm Zyra, servant of Horus, follower of the Hawk. The Hunter acts in the interests of Dyack, they who oppose the Hawk and who follow him, another strike is imminent. And then, she teleports them away, or they run away rather, and for some reason, Dove is just coming out of a shower and her bathrobe's open, so we're getting, cleavage and bra. Why she's even wearing a bra out the shower?
Yeah,
I don't know.
I mean, that's disgusting.
Shut up, Matt. So she goes on for about 5 minutes. This new character about Dyack and the Zyra and all these things.
I gotta take that name serious because it sounds like you're just like extending the word dick. Dyack.
Yeah, for the record, it's D''YAK. That's how you spell this.
Dyack.
Dyack, yes.
Dyack. Sounds like Tommy Wiseau.
It would be Dyack, right?
Dyack.
Yeah, but
Dyack.
I like Dyack though because it sounds like Dyack.
No, I agree, but it would be Dyack, right? Like Dyack.
Dyack. Whatever.
Dybbuk,
who cares?
Which is Yiddish for demon.
The fallacy of the book is that the assassin, the hunter, goes back to this wizard dude who hired him, and he's pissed because you weren't supposed to kill them. You obviously didn't do that, but he was trying to, despite the fact that he was only hired to retrieve these items. And he's like, no. You can't kill them because the prophecy must happen. The prophecy that have foretold that the hawk will kill the dove, and that's the cliffhanger. Is it was a prophecy that hawk's going to kill dove?
Oh, I can't not wait until I hear how this goes.
Well, there's only one issue left, so I mean.
I know. I said I can't not wait, Pete. So meaning I don't care.
It has to be addressed next issue, or it goes nowhere.
Good lord.
Yeah, not surprisingly, this was garbage. The opening with the club just felt tacky for no reason. It felt random as well. And then they patched things up super quick in a really unnatural way through dialogue. And then there's a random harpoon. All this just feels out of nowhere.
That sounds like the best bit.
And then a woman just shows up saying she's got a weird name, and she's like, she's one of the horrors who follows the hawk. And I'm just like, what is this shit?
Yeah, so like, there's a term people like to use on the internet called Jeffsposition, which is when Jeff Johns would just put in exposition in like narrative boxes and whatnot. Like, I'm getting caught up on JSA, like issues I haven't read in forever, and there's a Wildcat issue, which is one of Johns' first by himself, and it's like full of that.
Oh, is that the one where he's on his own and the villains team's like invading the mansion or whatever?
Johnny Sorrow.
Yeah.
That's a great issue.
That was a good issue.
Yes, it was. And so I can see how Jeffsposition, like, it bothers some people, but being such a Johns fan, that's just part of his writing style to me. I'll rather much take Jeffsposition than what Pete just described.
I think this is what I think people who complain about the John stuff think of it as. This is what I imagine they feel when they complain about it.
Yeah.
I think exposition's tricky. It's if it's enjoyable to read, it's fine.
Yeah.
That's the key.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, how does it flow?
But no, this was like 4 new names just hit me in one word balloon.
Yeah. Like boom, boom, boom.
I was like, whoa, slow down. Anyway, so yeah, it's like a 2 out of 10. This was terrible. Art was bad. All the women are all wearing ridiculous things, or even when they're not. Like, a hoodie's not ridiculous. A hoodie's like the most conservative looking thing you could be wearing, and somehow there's still tits popping out the panel. So, no, it's bad. It's bad.
Yeah.
So.
Speaking of terrible.
Oh, here we go. Curse of Brimstone issue 8. Justin Jordan, Eduardo Pansica. On you go.
Yeah. I just want to say, this started off by putting me in a bad place through no fault of its own, actually.
Okay.
Like, but I opened it up and it was, obviously from a couple of months ago, and it had the advert for Batman and the Outsiders, and I went, oh, that doesn't exist.
At least, yeah.
Because it goes new ongoing series beginning in December. I'm like, no, it didn't. Damn it.
I think that should have been this week, actually.
Yeah.
That'd have been a nice book to have this week.
Yeah. But, not this book's fault.
Yeah. But that's what it is.
Yeah. I don't remember what happened in the last issue of this book at all. And
that makes 2 of us, but I didn't read it. So
yeah.
Oh.
I read it. I spoke about it. I have no idea what happened. And this, I only know that something must have happened that I know about that I should remember, because this says part 2 in the credits, or it should say part 2. It's a horrible font and it looks more like part Z. But
maybe
I'm
it is.
assuming that's
part
a 2.
26.
Which would be impressive given that it's issue 8.
Numbers don't matter.
Yeah, I'm distracted because Matt's got a Godzilla cup, and I was appreciating the Godzilla cup rather than listening to Connor.
Yep.
Hold it up.
After that trailer, after that fantastic trailer the other week, I've been drinking out of this cup almost exclusively. So
it's just coming up. It's a big tail.
That's cool. Yeah,
I like it.
So, when they sell the collectible cups and they're nice quality, I have to pick them up. I have an Avengers one that's still somehow. That's 6 years old, but is still in good condition. So
my theater doesn't sell collectible cups for the movies. That sucks.
Yeah.
I'd buy some.
Mine just does the little toppers, and they're like, you get like to go on. They're
yeah. I remember when Black Panther came out. I think it was Black Panther. They were selling collectible popcorn tins, and I was like, I kind of want that, but what am I ever going to do with it? See, the cups I'll drink out of again.
Yeah, because
I don't make enough popcorn at home though.
It's funny because someone, not in comics specifically, but someone was asking me about us having a PO box where they could send us stuff.
Yeah.
And I looked into it. PO boxes are quite expensive. We are nowhere near the point, especially since we don't have to have a separate one. But the only thing we could do is like you can send things through Amazon to people, but I think it has to be on our wish list. It's kind of weird. I don't know if you can just buy things and say tie it to this person's wish list address.
No, you have to put it on. They have to tell you, hey, put this on your wish list.
I mean, I'll make a wish list if people want a wish list, but I mean,
yeah, me too, guys. I like getting stuff. You know,
hey,
stuff is fun.
Tis the season.
Yeah,
we should have done this weeks ago. People are going to send us Christmas
big.
presents.
Why didn't you mention this before?
Because I never thought of it. It was just people asking about PO boxes, and I was like,
people want to send us stuff, and you didn't tell us.
See, I'm getting to the age where presents are more difficult because if there's something I want, I just buy it for myself. But I told my wife, I was like, I like opening things. So if you just want to buy something small, throw it in a box and wrap it up. I will be just as happy to open it. That's
what I said to Pete. She's like, I don't want to get you. If you want something, you just buy it. I'm like, well, yeah, but just get whatever. Like you know what I watch, read, drink. Just buy me something shit like that.
I had my feelings hurt on my birthday when my wife were. Because, of course, we went on a trip, right? Mm-hmm. But she didn't have anything for me to open on my actual birthday. And I got kind of sad. I was like...
I accidentally opened a present early. Because it arrived, and I didn't realize it was a present. I am very happy with it, I will say.
Good.
You will see it on display in the next few weeks.
The most Connor's ever child is where a present comes in and he's just like, "Oh, what's in? Oops! I opened it all the way."
Oh dear, what a shame.
Yeah. So anyways, Brimstone. This book's great.
Oh yeah, Brimstone. I suppose I should.
Don't mind me. I'm watching hockey in my lap. Connor's not talking about Brimstone, and Pete's doing something else. So it's.
I remember what it was actually. Someone
wanted
to send Connor Star Trek ornaments for his tree. That's what it was.
Oh
yeah.
That's what it was. That's why the subject of the PO box came up. I was just trying to remember what it was.
It was a whole thing. Amazon let me down. But yeah, so this issue, there's a woman who has a blind. She's like presumably blind. She's got a blindfold on with a crescent moon over it.
Is it Destiny from X-Men?
No.
Okay.
No, it's not.
Isn't it Tynion from Avatar?
She's not anyone. She's some being from another dimension, maybe. But yeah, basically, there's all these people who are going to be sacrifices to her. It seems like she's some sort of god. She's got a feud with the salesman and the Home Office. Is that what they were called in that organization? She's got a feud with them. Basically, she's like, they think that to use the power, they should give it to people, and like they do with their agents, like Brimstone is. And it's like And she was like, I told them it'd come back and, someone would fight and use it against them. I don't know why they did this, the idiots. I just kept it for myself and do what I want. So Brimstone's like, well, fine, I'll just burn everything. And then nothing burns. And she's like, yeah, do you want to try again? That's half the issue, basically.
If at first you don't succeed.
Yeah, pretty much. Something's going on with the sister. She's got something in her arm, like she refers to it as a rot. This blind. I'm gonna call her a witch. She's not really a witch, but I'm gonna call her that. This blind witch. She calls it a rot. She's like, and she basically starts using this to blackmail Brimstone. It's like, hey, if you come work with me and do what I say, I can fix your sister. It'd be cool. It's like, all I need you to do is just sacrifice all those people and kill them for me. And he's like, all right then. The sister's like, no, don't do it. Don't sacrifice all those people to save me. And Eddy does it anyway. And the witch is all cackling that, oh, you're mine now. But then they weren't the sacrifice, you were. And the sister's run away and got in the car and driven off because she's terrified that he's not Brimstone. He's not Joe. That's his name. He's not Joe anymore. He's just Brimstone. And she's scared of him, so she's run away.
Do you know what's funny? Like, you're telling me these Brimstone issues every month. I couldn't tell you anything that happened in a single issue of this book, and I will not remember any of this next week or next month either.
I didn't remember the last issue this month, and I read it.
It all just goes out. I remember the odd thing from Red Hood, but not this.
Yeah, when they say, like, that teaching someone something is a really good way to learn because you have to know it.
Sure.
I am teaching you this issue. I don't know it any better. It's still bullshit. The art is fine. It's still way too scratchy. way too orange. Like, I get that that's a theme, but when they're all ginger and then there's fire everywhere all the time, it's just overwhelmingly orange.
Well, this is ended in March, so
Yeah, but I'll be a couple of issues behind. Plus, it's an annual, so I mean,
you'll be going to about June or July probably. This.
Yeah, probably.
And then Tyler's going to have to replace that with something.
I mean, he could just replace it now. No, not that.
Hey, it goes both ways. It goes both ways. You try to convince him to give me Nightwing. I'm going to convince him to give you Nightwing.
You don't have to make me read this next month. You could, new year, new book.
Give him something worse. Something that'll make him shake in his boots, like a Bendis book.
Oh, don't.
You should just do one better and make it a Bendis book, but not Superman. One of his, Jinx World books. That's going on right now.
They don't count. It's got to be DC Universe.
Is that a rule? Did we establish that rule?
I'm establishing it now.
No, it's Jinx World is DC right now though. Cover.
No, because we don't talk about all the Vertigo books on here. No, we
if I remember right, you talked about Sandman when it came out.
Yeah. Oh. Hey. The only reason we don't talk about Vertigo books is because time and money are both factors in life, and we can't.
And also, to be fair, Sandman has a distinct link to the DC universe through a lot of characters.
You don't know that Scarlet's not showing up in Superman because you won't read it, so
I would hear about
it. Scarlet could be a member of Leviathan. We don't know.
I would hear about it.
Connor's like, shit, he's right.
I would know. Yeah. Yeah. This is like a 2, by the way. This issue.
Oh, it's a 2. Okay.
Oh, okay.
It's a 2. Well, with that bombshell, we can move on to the final part of the show, which is picking our favourite stuff of the week. Although, just minor part, I forgot to mention this in the solicits news. We got our first image of Arkham Knight in continuity.
Oh, yeah, we did. Looks alright.
Is that a big deal?
Well, it was in the video game Arkham Knight. And what's funny though, so spoilers for the video game Arkham Knight, if you weren't aware of this. So Arkham Knight, from the get-go, we said this is kind of like Jason Todd coming back as Red Hood, and kind of the big reveal in Arkham Knight is that halfway through or 2/3 through, or whatever, it actually turns out to be Jason Todd, and when the night part of his helmet comes off, it turns into the Red Hood sort of dome, and it becomes Red Hood. I have to imagine that's not what we're doing now, though. Well, this has to be a new character.
No.
Oh, Matt, you might come.
Nice go, Matt.
I kind of hope it is, and just go, screw it. That Red Hood version doesn't exist anymore. Let's try again.
I feel like someone like Hush is a good guess. I feel like I could see it being. Who else have we had that could end up?
It's this Matthew kid. He's just aged a decade.
I wouldn't be adverse to that.
If it was King's book, I'd agree with that. But since it's Tomasi doing it, I'm going to assume it's not.
Yeah. No, I agree. I just
yeah.
Throw it out there.
So we'll see. I don't know, but it's interesting. Anyway, so yeah, favorite stuff of the week. So we pick our favorite cover of the week, art of the week, panel/moment in our top 5 books. Although this week it'll be scraping for top 5 because there's not a lot of books.
I read 5.
Yeah, so you can.
I only read 4, so I'm gonna do top 4.
So we'll start with panel/moment. Matt, what you got for this?
Yeah, so mine is the Justice League, where they go to Thanagar and you see like all the architecture and stuff, and John's admiring that as an architect because of that metal. That was a really nice moment.
Cool. Connor.
Yeah, I feel like there's not a lot of standing out big moments this week. So it's all in the smaller moments. I'm gonna go with Batman checking on Jarro and Jarro being like, "Oh, I'm tough pop."
Cool. Some gorgeous Aquaman pages. I'm actually gonna go with a moment from Freedom Fighters because it worked really well for me in the sense that I didn't really know what was happening, and it's when the American flag behind like one of the guys starts to form a hand, and I'm like, "What's going on?" And it's the page before the reveal of the Plastic Men. But I was like, "Oh, that's actually kind of creepy. What's going on?" I was like, "Oh, it's the evil Plastic Men. That's kind of cool." So,
that's pretty good.
I don't know. So best cover of the week. I'll jump in first. Matina's Batman cover wins. I will accept no other answers. Thank you, and kindly.
Well, I'm throwing in the Cedric Justice League cover.
Yeah. So what? I just looked at that.
It's not Cedric though. What?
It is. That's the variant cover
that
it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
That's the one that I assume is in shops. For whatever reason, this Comicsology version has a J. Lee cover. The credits page has the Cedric cover.
I have no idea what the Cedric cover looks like.
Pete, go up and look at it because it is glorious.
Yeah, if you go on to previews, you'll see it now. It's there. It's not like it was replaced last minute. This is the variant cover. I'm choosing it because it's great.
This needs to be a poster because I need it on that wall right there.
That is a hell of a poster.
Right, you have looked at the Mattina Batman cover though, right? We're not just discounting that.
It's very good. It's very good. But it's
not Cedric drawing the Justice League. Like this is the Justice League complete with Cyborg.
Yeah.
He's not even on the team.
Cyborg, I mean that's like saying that's me with my phone. It's just the way you get around. So
I'm finding it.
It looks like an homage to the Justice League cartoon show, like one of theirs.
Why is Cyborg there though? He's not on the team anymore.
I don't know.
It's weird.
Just says it felt like it.
It's good. It's very good. I'm still picking.
I'm with Connor. That's my pick. I was going to bring that up after seeing it, but I'm glad Connor did. So
I'm going with Batman, but yes, this is definitely.
Batman's very good as well.
Definitely solid.
I mean, it's a Mattina Batman cover. I've seen about 20 of them.
Also, I know you guys like Art Germ more than or Art Germ, whatever his name is.
Yeah, the Catwoman.
This Catwoman, it's pretty good. I like that it's in the Christmas spirit. Yeah. You know,
I do like it. That's probably my second choice, to be honest.
Fair enough. So best art of the week then. Where are you going with, Matt?
Aquaman. So good. Thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah, I'm going with Aquaman too. Connor?
Justice League.
Fair enough.
Fair
enough. All right. So yeah. Yeah, by the way, yeah, Justice League, like, Cheung finally came back, but he only did like 2 pages.
Yeah, it's okay though.
I mean, he did a few pages at the start and a few at the end.
Only 1 at the end, did he not?
I mean, I think it was 2.
It's bookended.
He did 2 at the start.
I'm just
and
saying,
the end.
like,
you're right. It's 1. So 3 pages he did.
Yeah, after not being on the book for like several issues.
A while. Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just saying he was the advertised first like artist. He's done like 2 issues and 3 pages.
But that stuff was still good. But all the stuff on Thanagar looks fantastic.
Yep.
All right. So best top 5. Well, we're on top 5 now. So Matt, what are you doing?
1 Aquaman, 2 Freedom Fighters, 3 Justice League, 4 Batman, 5 Catwoman.
Connor.
Justice League, Aquaman, Freedom Fighters, Batman.
I'm putting Aquaman at number 1. I will put Justice League at number 2. I will put. I'll put Freedom Fighters at number 3, Batman at number 4, and then Catwoman at number 5. And that's everything I read. So there you go.
Not much disagreement really between us.
Not particularly, no. So there you go. Weird week 3 week. Although next week is even weirder because next week is your annual number 3, where we pick our favorite stuff of the year. We talk about best artist, writer, top books, top series, some top single issues, that kind of thing. We'll also have a section as well about books from non-DC. Like we said at the start and in the middle, patrons at the $1 tier and up. So you don't have to be a $5 patron, you have to be a $1 patron. You can submit your own picks for the awards, and we'll do it's like a point-based system where if you put in your top 5 books of the year, number 1 gets X amount of points, and then 2 gets less, and so on and so on. And they'll be added up, and they'll be like winners sort of voted for by you, and that'll be. We'll give those results as we go as well. And if you're into the TV stuff we do, me and Connor are doing TV awards over the next week or so. We're doing that as well. Same deadline, Friday. You can get the links on patreon.com/MailFuzzTV, where you can support us for as little as $1 per month and get some bonuses and stuff. So look forward to that. So do that. You guys on Twitter at DC Comics Podcast. I should tell you what's coming next week. No, I can't. There's nothing next week. Never mind. I was
just went over this.
I was ready to skip over it. I was ready to skip it. So that's good. Also,
the amount of times you have actually skipped over that and forgot and just not noticed.
I know. Right? I'm aware of this. Also, though, on Wednesday 26th, I'm doing a thing on YouTube where I'll be doing a live show where I can interact with the audience in the chat. And it'll, everything's kind of it's kind of a free for all. Talk about comics, movies, games, TV, whatever. Anything we've already covered is fair game, and some stuff it's not. But I'll be talking about the Marvel books I'm catching up on and Black Hammer and stuff. But it's kind of free for the audience to suggest things and ask questions and that sort of thing. That's at 8 p.m. UK, 3 p.m. Eastern, 12 p.m. Pacific on Wednesday. And if it goes well, people like it, it'll become a regular thing. More likely to be Mondays, I think, after the Christmas and New Year's. Obviously, Monday this coming week is Christmas Eve, and New Year's Eve the following week, which is why it's not going to be Mondays next week. But so if you're up for that, you want to come and chat, and some other people might guest on it later down the line. But I'm just trying it out myself first, see how it goes. So you can join me for that. So it's on the YouTube Mail Fuzz TV. If you normally listen to this on the audio feed, on the podcast feed, on iTunes or whatever, you go to YouTube for the live thing. But yeah. So anything else I want to do? Oh yeah, Aquaman. We're doing an Aquaman review. All three of us.
Yeah.
We're doing that tomorrow. It'll be going up sometime late tomorrow night, and it'll be on our Mail Fuzz Movies feed. But it'll also be, as with the last few movies, will also be on the Comics from the Multiverse feed, because it's essentially a special of this as well, and it's obviously relevant to your interests. So you can look forward to that.
Yeah.
There you go. I think that's everything. Lot to plug this week. But yeah. Anything else? Corey, you had something else to add.
No, I was just thinking if there was.
Okay. All right. We're done. So yeah, have a nice Christmas, because this is the last episode before Christmas. Next week's our annual for the best of year stuff, and then we'll see you in January for a hell of a week 1, where all the usual week 4 stuff is coming out.
Oh Jesus, that's going to be the busiest week 1 of my life.
I know. And go get stuff in the sales and get some comics for yourself for Christmas.
Just spend too much money. Be irresponsible. Enjoy it.
Yes. Spend some of it on our Patreon, and then go and spend it on the sales.
Yeah. Leftovers on there.
Yes.
Presents are nice. Presents are nice.
All right. That is us. That has been episode 135 of Comics from the Multiverse. We love you loads. Keep reading comic books, and always remember to never get lost in the Speed Force.
Oh no, another Marvel relaunch. No.